Never mind me while I'm stepping out my circumference. I feel the nerves trickling down. It's life humbling. My words stutter, stumbling, staggered, I'm caught off guard. This the life of a jigaboo, introverted, I'm scarred. Whoa, my murder been the melodies while they sing the choruses. Direct message from slaves saying we need more of it. Paranoia in my state, I see envy at high rates. Now it's crop off the fate, turn great so I fly straight. Was gone for a minute, now I'm back like an X with big factors. I see you turn flat like extinct like some raptors. When I drop through prayer, persistence, practice and patience, we move to greener pastures. They're saying life is a matter of mastering basics and mastering patience. More time I get tired of waiting. Maybe it's fate procrastinating, the times are bad, so it really had me sprung. Like she got me doing things that I never do. You thought that we connected when in fact it was trauma bonding. Just leave it up to me to break the rules, never corresponding. My childhood filled with fence climbs and knee scrapes and bikes and kicking it by the street signs. The older I get, I'm trying to lessen any screen time. The bounce back heavy, I rock steady on climb. This world's a fucking loop, the news will pick and choose whatever truth they wanna give to you. I cannot stomach it, so I poop. Oops. When life turns sweeter, the lemon mouths get louder. But I'm amplified with ghosts from God like that boy Fowler. Working like I got that point to prove. But truth be told, the proof is right in the pudding, no point to lose. 60 for the crepes, yeah, I did that just because. She expecting more, girl, you know I'm saving up. Left me on red, well, it was what it was. Never stress over them joints or in downs when times get rough, so I ghost. Long are the days when we was close, and when I see you, it's like two completely different type of ghosts. I approach the weekly fire dropping, which I'm feeding. Still, I don't expect to be the one, your boy having bugs. Still, the songs get spun like Beyblades and teacups. My fun fair to those that ever really know me from jump. So what's up, I've been the one they all depended on like TJ. Now they're dead wilder than a furry knockout punch, leaving them straight stunned. It's hella fun. Now you know I'm coming through. When the growth look good on you, best believe they wanna screw now. I've been trying to climb, devil threw me in the dark. Baby, don't be insecure, you can still go make a mark like blow. Could never let them drain my soul now. Blow. Table turning like doorknobs, wow. Blow. I think I'm about to set sail. I'm a walking, living legend, walking with my chest out. Life keep dealing me cards, I keep fitting in love.
Yes. By the way, big up John, because you've always got me in the back bopping my head, to the music. So big up John every damn time. Welcome, everybody. We're back in the building, live in the flesh, live and direct. We're here this evening taking a look at, football in a general sense. So, I had to bring a gang of people with me because I wasn't trying to do this by myself. And I felt this is a really, really good conversation, to have with everyone who's on the panel tonight and anybody else who, of course, joins in later on in the show. Big up everybody who's in the chat already. Big up, keep it level. I saw your comment on the football terrace. Stop calling me a Crystal Palace fan because people are starting to believe it. Big up Red for Life, obviously in the building, and big up Ben as well. Panel, illustrious panel. And again, I'd like to say thank you to each and every single one of you for, of course, joining me this evening for today's topic. Els, K-Mac, Ends, Quasi, Tariq, 12th, whoever else joins in later on. How is everybody doing? I know it's going to sound mad if I just put it to the floor. Els, how you doing first, man?
Good. Cold, but we're surviving. Yeah, all good.
So I like to hear. K-Mac, man, how you doing, bro? You good?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. Hope everyone's good in the chat and on the panel too.
And of course. Ends, my bro, how are you, bro?
Good, bro. I know what Els is talking about. This morning was -4 when I left my house.
When Ends told me that, I said, what? -4? You're outside?
Bro, Tuesday was -5. But all good, man. I can't wait for this convo.
No, that should be a good one. Quasi, how are you, bro? How are you?
I'm doing well, man. It's real cold out here. It's like 53 degrees,
What's that in Celsius?
30-something?
What kind of watch is that?
Like, man, looked at the watch, bro. Some different watch,
Hey, Apple Watch.
Bloody hell. Tells the temperature and everything.
Hey, Matt, we're in 2024, You got to get with the time. You gotta go with the times. Tariq, how are you, bro? How are you doing, man?
Oh, good, man. Appreciate you inviting me. And I share the same
come on.
sentiment as Ns and Ls. But I don't know why you're wearing a t-shirt. Your energy bills are going to be through the roof, bro.
No, I'm good. I've got like a warm body. Listen, don't be watching my body. Anyway, 12, how are you?
Bro, bro, we're good,
How are you,
man.
bro? Yeah, man, we're good. How are you, 12, man? You good?
I'm good. It is. I feel bad for saying it's cold here, but it's 73. I don't know what the Celsius is, but 73 degrees here. So 70 degrees Fahrenheit.
Even the fact,
I don't know what that is. The Celsius.
the fact that you
Huh?
said 73 just sounds like it's warmer than it is in the UK, regardless.
Yeah, exactly.
It
I
doesn't
don't
even
even
make
know.
a
I
difference.
don't know what that is in Celsius, but it's sunny. It's Arizona. That's one of the main reasons why I live here in Arizona. So,
Yo,
but thank you for
we might
having
need to
me on.
move.
Definitely
We might need to move.
to this illustrious panel, by the way. Big up.
No, of course.
And big up
And
to the
again,
chat as
guys,
well.
big up. No, of course. Big up everyone, of course, in the chat as well. You guys already saw the thumbnail. We're looking today, is football becoming too artificial? Is stats ruining the game? Have we got managers like Pep Guardiola, Jurgen Klopp, Mikel Arteta, Unai Emery, you know, all of these really good managers, by the way. Are they ruining the game? Are they making it too artificial? Are we not just seeing a game that's quite simplistic turned into something that is now, if you don't use words like game state on social media, if you're not using words like inverted forwards, inside, forwards, and all these kind of little, words and catchphrases, now you look dumb. You look like you don't really know what you're talking about. I think that was one of the reasons why I really wanted to do a show like this today, because I just think that with how the game is right now and how it's moving, in potentially the next 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, I think that it's going to be completely different, but I don't know if that's going to be for better or worse. Maybe if Pep decides to retire, maybe we might just go back to some type of normality. I don't know, but of course we'll have to wait and see. First section, I kind of wanted to go through. Now, when I was doing, the kind of prep for this show, there's so many different ways, and I kind of want to give the floor to you guys to kind of speak your mind and, say whatever it is, how you feel, your opinion. There's so many different ways we can look at this. And I think, firstly, we should look at it from a perspective of, excuse me, from a perspective of formations and systems. So obviously, throughout time, we already know there's really and truly, there is only really a set amount of formations that can probably be used on a football pitch today when we're talking about professional game, kind of at the top level. Even really a bit further down, there's only a certain amount that can probably be used. So I've got a stack of formations that, I was taking a look at to see what was football like back in the day to today. And I kind of want you lot's opinions. I'm not going to tell, it's obviously for those who are here a bit earlier, and I told you a couple of them in terms of the year and stuff like that. But for some of these, I want you guys to even guess what kind of decade and era you think that some of these formations were, of course, being used. So we got this one. When do you guys think we would have been using a two? Exactly. A two, and by the way, look at the names in terms of look what they're calling it. You got a goalkeeper. No. Let's not even go that far, ends. How about we got goalkeeper and 2 fullbacks, but no centre backs?
I just do the inverted thing from early.
Halfback, Damn.
Yeah,
Isn't
I'd say
that,
I'd
isn't
go
that
The
the
with
halfback
formation
thing is
that
mad
Brazil
still. I can't even lie.
30s, 40s, 1930s,
World Cup with
1940s.
Pele?
I think it might be
50s,
halfback.
maybe 60s.
I'm
with
going
Pele.
like the 30s.
40s, 40s.
Tens.
Early.
Man said tens, early doors.
I tell
One
you
of
what,
you
the
is
formation
close.
used to win
One
your
of you is
championship, manager.
I'll tell you this right now, yeah. So I'll tell you the year of this formation.
50s.
This was the first recorded formation in 1880.
1880.
Oh,
Yeah.
damn.
1880. Now, obviously, back then there was no offsides, hence why we've got 5.
Oh
We've
yeah,
obviously got
that's
5.
mad. Yeah, it makes sense.
You know what I mean? So the emphasis back then, it was England versus Scotland. It was an international game. And England played that formation there, the 2-3-5 formation with obviously the goalkeeper. Scotland played a 1-1-8 formation against them, but it was apparently in the game. England were stunned because Scotland were actually passing the ball around, whereas England were just trying to dribble with the ball as far as they possibly could and just release it whenever they got close enough to goal. So it's a bit like, right, okay, cool. So we were seeing not seeing possession-based football or anything, but even from then, you're like, okay, cool, all right, this team has a little bit about them. What about this?
That looks cold.
So this is technically called a 2-3-2-3 formation. The name of it is called Metodo.
Looks like a Barca thing still.
You're slightly, you're hitting the nail. You're hitting the nail. I can't lie.
It's bro, just looking at.
You're hitting the nail slightly.
That looks cold. Halfbacks again. We got these halfback guys.
I'm gonna go with the 30s.
I'm gonna go 40s,
Gonna go with
50s. Yeah.
I was so wrong before, so I'm not even going to answer.
12th is right. It is the 30s. It is. This was the formation used by Brazil in the 1930s, and you are also correct. It's also a formation that Pep Guardiola's used for Barcelona back when obviously he was managing Barcelona. So again, we can see the two kind of differences that we're looking at it thinking, right, the 1930s, they were using this same thing that we're seeing from Pep Guardiola, even in modern football. I find that one kind of...
I'm sorry.
What's that? Oh.
Is Salah injured?
Yeah, I pulled a hamstring.
No, Ghana, come on, do your thing.
Then.
So obviously this one's a basic one. I feel like we've seen this one as of recently. But this was first used by Brazil and Hungary in the 1950s.
Yeah, that's 50s. Yep.
4-2-4. That's a cold formation, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. This one, we all know what this one is. This is the 4-3-3. This was actually used firstly by Brazil in 1962. This one, this is what made Sir Alex Ferguson who he is today, which is obviously the 4-4-2. So we know that that's obviously used during the 90s.
Oh, okay.
This one kind of not shocked me, but I was like, when I found out one of the managers who used this, I had to go back and check. So Terry Venables actually used this in the Euros. 3-5-2 formation. I was trying to figure out like who the hell did he have as defensive midfielder, but I think it was Paul Ince at the time. Liverpool fans, you have to know when we use this. If you don't know, then you're not a real fan.
Or like the Dunnies that didn't know who Helen Hansen is.
Well, again, yeah, I'm not here to judge. I'm not here to judge.
Some of us don't have Sky Sports, man. That's why. Some of us don't have Sky Sports.
This is obviously free for
If
free.
you showed me a picture of them younger, I would have known them.
We Liverpool used this in the second half of the Champions League 2005 final that we obviously come back to win. What decade do you think this was used in? So this is a 3-6-1.
60s?
Nah, they started using centre backs now. Maybe 70s.
Yeah, 70s.
60s? Yeah, I'm thinking 60s as well. Is this
Defensive mids as well. Jesus, hey.
Is that
Germany?
Argentina, Portugal?
Yeah.
It's not Germany. It's not Germany. This was used by Gus Hiddink in 2006. He used this formation with Australia when he was managing the Australian national team.
Makes sense, bro. Lock it up, man. Make sure they have enough. Nah, it makes
players to.
Don't have the
that centre forward Cahill.
Yeah, you know, I didn't even check the actual the bloody the team of that year, but if it's 06, I would assume it would be that. Obviously 4-3-1-2. This is kind of more recent. This is obviously used. AC Milan, Allegri was using this quite predominantly during that kind of period, the 2010s, during that kind of era. We can see, I can't remember what team he would have had in 2010. I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to think who the two centre forwards would have been at that time. But that's what he was using. And then, of course, we've got the 5-4-1. This one's kind of been used in most eras, but just in a different kind of format. So in different kind of formations, whether it be a 4-5-1, 4-3-3, we've kind of already been kind of using a 5-4-1 kind of formation. But I could go on for ages and ages and ages and ages and ages. There was actually, from everything I counted there there was over 35 different formations. There were formations that were just called the WM or the MW or just
Right.
the W.
Yeah.
Just because, you know what I mean? It was, and you just had to kind of guess like how you kind of saw it. So
yeah,
Which is the most common out of all of them? Is it the 4-4-2?
that was the most common formation
Yeah.
in modern era. The most common formation actually used, let's say, I think it was from 1920 to 1960 was actually 4-3-3, but just done in different variations though. So it might not look like a typical like this, but that was actually quite common to kind of see. But again, it might have looked a little bit more a 5-4-1 potentially, or you might have had different players potentially playing in different positions and things like that. But one of the questions I wanted to ask you guys here in the panel, and again, people in the chat, please get involved as much as you possibly can. I'd love to hear everyone's take. Why do you think now, especially going from 1880
So
when there
cold.
was no offside,
No, I'm just trying to
1880
think of the defenders, bro, against them five. Is that 5 attackers? 2
that
men at the back, they're
is
killing. That's mad.
1, 2, 3, and bear in mind you got winger, inside forward, a centre forward, another inside forward, and another winger on the other
So
side.
them
I
men
mean-
are holding them. I'm sure
I mean,
Klopp used that
realistically, like as a Liverpool fan, isn't that pretty much what we
I
play?
was about to say.
Yeah, that's
why
what.
Klopp has done that.
You bring Gapco on, and that's a
Every
5, pretty much. Like,
So that's what I was going to ask you guys. Well, I'll ask that second. Sorry. Firstly, why do you guys think that formations have now, especially when we look at teams like the Brightons, obviously we're just talking England, look at the teams like the Brightons, down to heck, even a Luton. Every team has got their own different kind of formation and system that they obviously play. Why do you think it's become such a key thing? I'll open this up to the floor again. Chime in whenever you want to chime in, man.
I feel
I'd
for
say the
that-
biggest one, which you haven't mentioned, is the back pass rule. That's massive. Like that is a massive
course.
thing that changed formations. The back pass rule. You need more defenders because you can't just kick it back to the goalie now.
Yeah, very true. Very, very true. Very, very true. Go on then. Sorry, I know you were about to speak.
I would say my answer to this question is actually, I wouldn't say complex, but it's certainly like,
Sure.
I think that we have certain coaches that are definitely students of the game, I guess you could say, you know, and in essence, you know, you spoke of, you know, Pep basically taking formations that other teams have taken. It's the same thing with Klopp, you know, the same thing is with a lot of styles you see is just reinventation, excuse me, is a mouthful. You know, like reinventing these formations in their own ways with the players that they have and utilizing it. So when you're a student of the game, you're going to go and you're going to look for, okay, well, I get it. This formation, like for instance, you have certain coaches out there that are doing like the 4-4-2 or the 3-5-2, but yet that was like something that West Germany used in the World Cup, for instance. You know, like these things are reasons why you see the players that correlate to what you can utilize them for being what you've seen in the past, and you've had the past history of these formations and knowing what you can get from them. So you incorporate them to what you need them, and you tinker and tweak them to what you have to have them to best fit the personnel that you have.
No, I agree. Just before anyone goes, I'm just going to quickly read this out. Big up, honestly, by the way, for the super chat, man. Much love. Breaking news: Salah went off injured in the match versus Ghana. It looks like a hamstring injury to me. I can promise you now, Salah will not come home. He ain't trying to come home right now. He's trying to help Egypt do whatever it is they're trying to do. Yeah, exactly. And that makes it even weird that you're saying that. I'm not saying you're wrong, by the way. Honestly, like I was watching the game as well. I just saw him go down, so I don't know. But if he is injured, he needs to be confirmed. I'm out for a prolonged period of time before he decides to, you know.
He needs
cut
to be
ties
missing
with
a leg, like a limb,
Yeah.
to not
For
play
Egypt,
for Egypt.
Yeah, for Egypt, he's not really trying to, you know, miss games. But big up, honestly, again, much love for the super chat. But yeah, anyone else, man? Why do you think formations and systems seem to be a bit more prevalent, you know, in today's game?
I think a big thing with formations is when you're looking at in possession, out of possession in particular. And the way that we look at formations, like on a pitch or anything, whatever app that we're using, is usually when the team is in possession of the ball, and how they tend to defend out of possession. It depends on the systems that we see. So if we get a team that has a lot of the possession, you know, the protagonists of the game, the team that are the dominant force, or the ones who are the ones asking the questions, you'll tend to see them set up in a 4-3-3 kind of way, with packing up the midfield, fullbacks pushing up high. It's like to see the change within the years. So the one that you first put up, G, with the 2-3-5, that is what our Jurgen Klopp, our Mikel Arteta, Pep Guardiola, they play right now, and even a De Zerbi. And those wingers will then be the wingers when they're in possession. But for De Zerbi, that left winger there is Pervis Estupiñán. But the way that we look at it is completely different, and the game is kind of changing in a way where it's almost like positionless football. I always liken it to basketball. I think I spoke to you and Enz about this in particular. Like, basketball is very much having a big influence on football, I feel, because basketball's turned positionless, where you've got players of different heights and statures, and it's more about using their characteristics or their ability in terms of their physicality, how tall they are, their speed, their strengths, areas of the game. And they will defend in a certain way and attack in a certain way as well, rather than having specific positions where we've seen over the years, with the likes of Franz Beckenbauer revolutionize the centre-back position to where we see it today, where we have ball-playing centre-backs who like to carry it from deep and into the midfield and whatnot. Lothar Matthäus as well, how he was a kind of a central midfielder, but was completely up and down, and he was like the real first box-to-box midfielder in that sense. And yeah, so I think formations are very interesting in a way, because how you will set a team on paper won't always play out how it will in a game.
Facts. No, facts. What about you, Quasi? Ends? What you guys thinking?
I think formations, honestly, I think there's only three of them. 4-5-1 can be formed as 4-2-3-1. 3-5-2 is what? 5-2, whatever. It's just, there's literally three formations. How the system and the tactics is implemented, that's where you see the movement of the players. Going to your question, I think you have to look at it based on what is hot, right? Whatever Pep is doing is nothing new. Liverpool was playing like that in the 80s. It's called pass and move, right? That's the same system that the great, what's his name from Netherlands?
Not Cruyff.
Cruyff.
Michels.
No, Cruyff.
Yeah, Michels is another one as well.
Yeah. Cruyff took that same system that Liverpool was using and took it to Barcelona, modernized it a little bit, and then it became the tiki-taka.
I was going to say that.
Right? So the thing is, most of these things that we see is nothing new under the sun. It's just been modernized. Now, science has come into football. Hence the reason why you see statistics. Because why should Mo Salah run from fullback to the wing side 10 times when we can position him in a place where he could only do it maybe 3 times? So he could drop back 3 times to defend and then be more on the attacking side. And real quick, with Brendan Rodgers actually made it very easy for Steven Gerrard to elongate his career, where he told him, you're going to be in this quadrant, and I need you to give me 100% in this quadrant, but the rest of them just as needed, right? So that is also the difference in how the football is going. Now, Brazil, on the other hand, is what I think, you trying to say, because now Brazilians are becoming more European style of play. There's not that natural skill because there's not enough of them. So guess what? We're going to play a system of ball where we'll have a Neymar or a Coutinho. One of you guys will be the free role and you could do whatever you want. Now, if you bring it to Africa, depending on the team that we're playing, we literally playing like 7 guys in the back and 3 in the middle and 1 guy up top. Because, and that is something that a lot of times Europeans don't understand. It's boring. AFCON is boring. World Cup is boring. No, this is how we play. We play based on physicality. Brazil had 2 styles of playing. They had the European style. They had the samba. And when they play the samba, it's a lot of dancing, a lot of, Neymar, Ronaldinho type of thing going on. Even the Pele, if you guys haven't watched the Pele movie, this is a PR for Pele movie. You watch it, you understand more what I'm saying. And of course, even in Europe, there's 3 different styles of playing. If you look at Germany was boring because it was direct, right? Now the modern German game is a little more fun. It's like what Jurgen Klopp is doing, the Gegenpressing. And Gegenpressing has always been there before Jurgen Klopp also. So
that was a Dutch thing.
yes.
Ram.
Yeah.
Give me 1 sec. Now, pick up honesty again for the super chat. Egypt are down. Ghana are winning with no Mo. Egypt is mid, but I hope his injury is not as bad as I think. I hope it's just tiredness or something. I mean, I hope we slap Egypt 10-0 anyway. So whether Mo was injured, regardless, was always going to be an irrelevant thing. But if he's injured, obviously that's sad. But I hope not. Let's just hope it's just one of those. Just needs to just rest.
I don't think he's serious because he sat right on the ground on the bench.
Yeah. So let's just hope it is, man. But big up Michael, by the way. Big up Ram, of course, for joining in. Els, what you guys saying in regards to why we think?
I think it's a combination of what everyone has spoken about, but I think a big one is just the amount of different nationalities we're seeing in different leagues. Like you're having, and also people just moving around. So you have loads of scouts going to Brazil, going to all different sections of the world, and you even have like managers. They're not just sticking to people they know. They're getting, for example, like Pep randomly appointing Arteta. Like no one really expected that, really, but it's just like trying to bring new ideas, sharing ideas. And I think that's what it is. As you know, as people have said, like nothing is actually new. It's just recycling ideas. And I just think that's kind of it. And I think data is a big thing. Like clubs look at the minutest detail to make the biggest difference. Like, for example, even like when Liverpool hired a throwing coach, like everyone laughed and thought like, what is that? But literally to the smallest detail, anything to make sure your team has an advantage. And also maybe I think that, and a separate point, but maybe because it's less about one player and it's more about team. I think maybe formations are changing because of that. So it's more of a team game rather than that one player. And we're all, that's kind of what I think. So a combination of everyone's ideas.
No. I feel you. Ends. What are you telling me, bro?
Bro, I think it's the money, bro.
I was waiting actually for someone to mention this, to be fair.
You know what it is? So the first formation you showed, right, with the 2-3-5, that's more entertainment, isn't it? The people turned up to the game to see loads of goals, loads of quality, loads of skills being on show. Where now, because no one wants to lose a game of football, you're seeing more the 5 at the back 4, and then the lone striker just running up and down like a headless chicken trying to close down, because they know winning the game or drawing the game against a big club means you get more points, which means you probably stay in the league, because the financial gain by staying in the Premier League or staying in the top leagues is better than you getting relegated trying to play your own way. And that's why people like Company, I salute him. I'm probably going to get relegated based on, obviously, they need to play more defensive. But I salute him because he wants to play the game the way it should be. It's an entertainment sport. It was never made for, you know, your big pockets where people just put these mad bets on and sit there in their high and mighty chair. It was for the fan, for the working class, for just the people that wanted to go and enjoy the sport the way it should be played. Now, we go to game and people are praising 5 at the back and then saying that's a great performance. Do you know how easy it is to sit in a 5-4-1 and just close space down? Then it is to try and go and win the game and leave gaps in behind where they can go and exploit at any moment because you're actually trying to win the game. So Yeah, man. I think it's based on the money, man. Before it used to be about the vibes and then enjoying the beautiful game. And you used to run home, go and watch a game because you know teams wanted to go and win, no matter who was playing against who, bro. Tell me the team that played 5 of their back against Barcelona in their prime. No one did. They just played football and got cooked same way.
Mourinho.
But now, yeah, but Mourinho did it in a specialist way, bro. But you're talking about 1%.
He plays Samueletto.
And even then, he still smoked Barcelona once as well with it. So, no, I feel like it's about the money now, man. And that's why formations have changed. And you're right in terms of everyone's kind of correct in their own way. You know, everyone, it's down to the fine details now. It's about the throwing coaches. It's about the set piece coaches. It's about, you know, how we can gain yards. I can't remember who said it, but was it Quasi when he said that we leave Mo in a certain position, he doesn't necessarily have to drop back. Where before everyone used to drop back and get forward at the same time. But now you're like, why is Mo not tracking back and helping Trent? But we cook Trent every game. He's leaving space. Yeah, that's because on his side, bro, it's only him there. And then Kanate has to come across. Where on Robbo's side, Robbo used to have Mane covering him, so he's good there. And even now you got everyone covers him. But yeah, I think it's just the money, bro. Honestly, I think without the money in the game, you'd see a lot more expansive formations where people actually want to go and play. No one does that now. Every team in our league, apart from maybe even Tottenham as well, we're cooking them for playing the high line and doing what they're doing. But they want to play expansive football. Their manager says, even when we draw 4-4, ain't you entertained? Because he's not going to do the defensive thing. Klopp don't do this defensive thing. Pep don't do it. Arteta, he doesn't do it. Unai doesn't do it. Company doesn't do it. The Zerbi doesn't do it. But if you look across, maybe I'm missing someone else. Maybe Poch to an extent. But everyone else, man, you look around, bro, they all play defensive football, especially in the Prem. Outside of the Prem, however, I feel like everyone just plays football, man, and tries to enjoy it. Go and watch your German league, your Dutch league, your Spanish league, the Italian league. Everyone plays expansive football to an extent. But in the Prem, we just proper like rate these teams that want to play 5-4-1 and say they was outstanding. No, you wasn't, bro. Try and go and win the game, man. Your fans paid money to come and watch your team play and for you to go and showcase all the brilliant players you got. And these man now, the man's techie, and he has to do this mad dogged work, chasing Mo down the wing every Tuesday. I didn't turn up for this, bro. But yeah, man, I think it's the money.
Can I?
Can
I just
real quick with what he said? Real quick, K-Mac. That's why I don't believe if Simone comes to the Prem, Arsenal fans, you think he's just gonna take over. He won La Liga because in La Liga nobody played defense, and he went there with Simone. Atletico. He went to La Liga and nobody played defense, and he decided to park the bus with some good, solid players. If he comes to the EPL, we got 5 or 6 different coaches who do the same thing. So how is he going to dominate?
Sorry, Quasi. I'm sorry, Quasi. Sorry, Simeone doesn't play defensive football anymore. I just want to put that out there. He's adapted his football.
What's happening to him at La Liga now? La Liga has never been weak as it is right now, and he's in 5th.
I would disagree with that because La Liga is actually doing very well this season, considering that they have 4 teams in the round of 16 of the Champions League and the Premier League.
That's what I'm saying. Atletico is in 5th position with Simone, who's that? I think the 2nd or the 3rd paid manager in the world.
The problem for Atletico is they don't have good enough defenders. That's their issue. They're playing a lot better attacking football, but defensively, which was obviously the sort of brand of football that Simeone went for, they're horrible. I mean, when you're playing with Sioncho and Azpilicueta in 2024, nah, that's not going to work.
That's my point. That's my point. This is the manager. This is the only
manager that's broke up the monopoly.
Exactly. He's the manager. It wasn't just him. Benitez also did it. The manager who is known for his defensive prowess, and he can find the defenders who could make him win. That's what I'm saying. Him coming to EPL is not going to be as simple as people think. Oh, just show up and you're just going to take over because Mourinho and Conte, in a sense, did it. It doesn't work like that. Pep and Klopp, you could say, are doing exactly what Madrid and Barcelona are doing with less, okay, I wouldn't say less money, but they're doing it with a system. Atletico, he built something that for a long time in La Liga, they haven't done it. Just like Ann said, everybody attacked. La Liga, when you watch it, everybody attacked. At the time that he won, the players that he had were some solid, hard-working players, and they were very defensive. Now, just like you said, they are attacking, and he's still struggling off a coach that we know that he's known to be what? Dark arts, defensive, and very tactical. So him coming to EPL is not just going to be, oh, let him spend money and then he's going to take over. It doesn't work like that.
By the way, just big up again, honesty, man. Much love, bro. I forgot to big up to everyone on the panel. I hope you're Gucci. By the way, I don't really like this 4-4-2 formation that we've got going on the screen because I'm playing right back at the moment and I'm left-footed. I feel like I should be maybe next to ends in central midfield potentially. You know, me and ends just kind of. Ends, you're on mute, by the way. You're on mute.
No, I'm saying we need to stay in the league,
right
bro.
there.
We need to stay in the
right
league, innit? So we have to play a defensive shape and counter attack.
Yeah, but I feel like maybe and I'm not trusting Tom and Michael up top. I don't know how deadly these two are
I've got
strikers.
a decent cross on me. Is anyone good in the air there?
No. You look like a centre back. I feel like centre back is the position that Ram. You're definitely not staying right mid.
By the way,
that's only because you know how tall I am.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know.
Put me in the middle. Put me in the middle then. Put me in the middle.
Nah, I don't trust you, bro. I need you in goal or something.
The nuances about the way we looked at those formations, and I mean, I obviously mentioned the rules, but I don't think we kind of mentioned like the technology and the fact that pitches are different now. You know, balls are different. You know, we introduced refereeing and subs. You know, even the the way the fact that people can get yellow cards and banned now, like that didn't happen back then. But I would say a lot of it is obviously down to the opposition. Like, you can't play those formations against those other formations now. You have to play.
Why does everyone keep saying this?
Formation
why
against
can't
a certain
we?
Formation now? It
but
doesn't
why?
work.
Why though? Because we've just I just heard
I don't know. I'm not a manager, but I would say that you can't play a random tactic against a tactic now. It has to either be the same or you combat it with
it's a philosophy.
Way. Yeah,
it's all about philosophies now.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what I had this I'm interested in this topic because I had this conversation during Christmas with my family about just artificial football and systems and all that kind of stuff.
Before you go into it, big up Michael and big up Tom. Thank you and welcome to Twitter.
I'm sure Tom wants to touch on that as well. What I've just mentioned.
But go on, sorry, Ram. Go on.
But when it comes, so when I spoke to my uncle about this, and he believes that there's one game that sort of made systems a thing. It was the '74 World Cup. It was the final between Netherlands and Germany, and people want to say, because you're looking back, you look at Beckenbauer, Müller, Schwarzenbeck, Paul Breitner. Those are great players. At the time, they weren't the players that we used to know, except Beckenbauer probably and Müller. And you look at that Netherlands team, I think in 1970, Feyenoord won the Champions League. Then Ajax won it 3 times in a row. Most of those players were from those teams who were playing innovative football. And it was probably the first time we saw a proper tactical game between two teams with 2 of the best players that were around. And those 2 teams played systems that got the best out of their best player. You got to talk about Cruyff and Beckenbauer. And Germany had a plan of stopping Cruyff and stopping the Netherlands from playing football. And then it was a big shock. They ended up winning it. And it was a shock that Germany beat the great Netherlands team that everyone tipped to win and batter everybody in their side. And that's where people started to realize maybe systems will actually get you to win football matches. And it started to evolve. Obviously, Germany, Bayern Munich went on to win their trophies. Then Liverpool came around, obviously, with our spine of Hansen, Souness, and Dalglish, with obviously Rush as well. And then you look at AC Milan, their 2 best players was probably Baresi and Maldini. Well, sorry, Italy's in '94, their best players was Baresi and Maldini, and Baggio, who was leading up for the front line. And then Brazil at the same time was Romario and Bebeto. So it's all about trying to get the best out of your best player, building a system around them to make sure they play to the best so that everyone else is better. And I think it all started from that game in '74, where the so-called smaller team beat the big team. I think the big upset of that game that really started to perpetuate these systems and getting the best out of the plays and formations and all that kind of stuff. That's what my uncle sees, and I think he has a pretty good case about it.
No, listen,
You can throw
I
two
don't
other big.
disagree.
You can throw two other countries into that mix as well: Denmark and Greece.
Denmark obviously winning the Euros, obviously with Schmeichel in there. One thing I wanted to ask you. You guys kind of already touched on it. Some of you in terms of when you're looking at these formations and speaking about managers. That was one of the things, and I'll go to obviously Michael and Tom. Who are the kind of game changing? And obviously, I don't know who the oldest person is here, so I don't know what your decade of football is in terms of the first kind of managers that you guys kind of saw. But in terms of the game-changing managers that we've seen throughout our time of watching football, who do you think they are, and why? What makes them so special? Like, why is Pep so special? Why can't someone else do exactly what Pep Guardiola does in terms of formations, tactics, whatever? Sir Alex Ferguson, if you want to say he's a tactician, whatever. All these managers, why can't other people almost replicate that and then almost do the kind of same thing? Michael, top.
Because Pep actually acknowledges that he doesn't have a system. He has a style of play that he likes, but he doesn't have a system. So the big thing is teams adapt to systems. People can figure out systems. That's why he changed it so much. That's why, even if you look at his time at City, he's went from a traditional 4-3-3. He's had false nines. He's had bombing up wing backs. He's had wing backs that stay back. He's pushed centre backs into midfield. He's alternated between systems that have been around the past. From now on, football has been around for too long for anyone to create something new. It's rehashing old ideas that have been forgotten about and will work in the modern game. I just think that the great managers are the ones that either get on the trend first and can ride it out. But obviously, there's man management and all that stuff that separates them from others. But on a tactical sense, it's just the ones who either get on a trend first, and that often comes from having played it in the past or having watched it in the past and went, well, football's not different now. Let's just go with that.
Exactly.
Or being able to change quicker and adapt quicker and throw away your loyalty and throw away your affection for the system to understand that if I change now with the personnel, with the way it's moving, I will continue to keep that level. I think in terms of, is it becoming too artificial? Yes and no, because the era of those players who people enjoy watching, there are still some of those about, but ultimately people's expectations of football have changed. A lot of people now don't watch football to watch football. A lot of people watch football now to watch a team win or to watch a team play a certain way. We don't, when we talk about some of the great sides in the past, it's never, I'll go to the Barca team, Messi, Iniesta, Busquets, you had Eto'o, you had Henry. None of them get singled out in that side. It's that Barca team was boss. That City team was boss. That Bayern team was boss. Everyone wants to watch how a team plays now. Everyone wants to watch that team win. So the idea of individuality in football is losing a sense of it because everyone's expectations have changed. And
but do you know what?
Because money's involved now, and a hell of a lot of it. And if you try and go back to individuality and it don't work, your club is going to miss out on a hell of a lot of money. And these owners that pump in loads of money aren't willing to accept these projects anymore. No owner loves football. When you start putting your money in football, no one loves football anymore. So they go for what makes them money, and that's what's killing it.
Do you know what's funny about that, Bas? Because we always think about your Xavis, your Iniestas, your Dani Alves, but when you hear the interviews that they have, they always talk about that one player, which is Messi. You hear Dani Alves says, when we played with each other, we all knew we were sick. We all knew we were great. But it's Messi. Messi is the one. Messi is the guy. And I think what makes a good point is the fact of we started to evolve and start to move away from the single player, moving towards the overall team. And that's why I put the comment out. we don't have a lot of players that are jack of all trades anymore. Like you talk about box to box midfielders. I think that box to box midfielders is no longer there anymore. I don't think there's any true box to box midfielders anymore. Like you think about 2006 World Cup when we had, obviously Stevie was there. You had Schweinsteiger coming through. Torsten Frings was also with Germany. Mark van Bommel for the Netherlands. The box to box midfielder was just readily available. Everyone had one. Everyone had one that was of a good quality. But if you look today, there's not many of them out there anymore. It's just you got a specialist kind of player. You got a midfielder that is good with the ball, likes to keep it close to him and likes to give the ball to the wingers and stuff like that. Or you got a player who's he's a tough tackler, or a player that loves to ping the ball right, left, right, and center. You don't have a player that has all those attributes together and is just able to play football anymore. And I think that's because the system and the way we play is just we sort of
I think
focus
as well,
on
they
them
wouldn't get
being
the
a
credit
master
nowadays,
on that.
That side of their game wouldn't get the credit nowadays because everyone looks at football in a more analytical sense. When we used to watch Stevie G, I couldn't tell you that Stevie G played this and this. Stevie G was just everywhere. Certain players just everywhere on the football pitch. Now, if you were to insert Steven Gerrard in football nowadays, you'd be told, well, in possession he picks up this role in the half turn, and then out of possession he drops into the pivot, and then that it gets broken down as that's all he does. But he's a true sense of it. It's how it's broken down nowadays. It's how it's analysed nowadays. It's how we're going nowadays, and that's what's going to happen. I mean, I might be the exception on the panel. I prefer defensive football to attacking football. I'd always prefer to watch a 1-0 masterclass of defense.
So you're like a Jose Mourinho, Simeone type.
I think a 1-0 win where you score early on and then you hold out for 90 minutes, but the opposition team don't really create a clear chance against you. I think that's more impressive than a 4-1 or a 5-1 because I think that requires the mentality and a bigger capacity up there to stay switched on, to stay constantly reading the game, more so than an attacking sense, because everyone wants to attack. Everyone wants to attack. Centre-backs want to attack, but not everyone wants to defend. So to get an entire team to buy into it and defend at such a high level, I think that's the most impressive part of football. That's why the Simeones, the Mourinhos, if you go back, the like Benitez's sides early on at Valencia at points, the Sachis as well, the teams that set up that could defend well in a low block, I think they're so impressive because it requires such a mental capacity to keep on top of it all. And the ones like I think there's a separation that needs to be done. A lot of teams try and play low block in the Premier League. That I don't like that because I think it's just a bit crap. Yeah, it's bad players trying to buy into a system which puts them under pressure. I like it when the good players do it because they know how to alleviate the pressure. I will always actually prefer that as well. Maybe it's because I played at centre back, and you know it's what you look out for when you're watching the sport as a kid trying to learn it. But I've always fell in the boat of I prefer defensive football to attacking football, which is why I don't believe it's becoming too artificial. Because defensive side of things will always stay the same. You can't artificialize defensive football, and I think now we're starting to realize you can't artificialize attacking football. I think Pep Guardiola said it in his interview after the Newcastle game. You can't coach a team how to attack. You can't coach the perfect final third play. You can't. That's where individuality comes into it. It's just the way we watch football is different now, and everyone looks at it differently.
But then, Tom, what I would say to that is what would you necessarily class as defensive football? Because you mentioned Pep Guardiola, and he would say the best way to defend is by having possession as far up the pitch as possible. And then you've got, of course, I know when we speak about defensive football, we more talk about, you know, you're sitting in your 4-4-2 formation and then counter-attacking, getting your top players like in a counter-attacking way with space in behind and really trying to attack and create better chances because what you can do in the transition. But then, like, for example, as an Arsenal fan, a lot of Arsenal fans will say, we're so much more defensive this season. Even how we're slow, pragmatic. Look at the Arsenal-Man City game. A lot of neutrals watched that and said, that's so boring. Barely saw any chances. But that was a literal tactical, so many switches in systems, so many switches in play, rotational football. I know, like, so we see a lot on like social media now with positional and relationism type of football. And that's what's prominent in Europe, in players having that capability to go in different areas of the pitch, win in their duels, having possession in there, and really trying to dominate in every aspect of the game. And defensive football can be looked at, like, for Jurgen Klopp, the best way he defends is further up the pitch. That's why he plays with such a high line, and using the likes of Alisson to cover so much space that will be left behind. And then if there is the opportunity where, you know, a team does get in behind in between Alisson and Van Dijk's got the athleticism, the speed, Konate able to recover. So I kind of like, I kind of prefer that type of defensive football. Like, I prefer watching Arsenal this season than last year. Of course, no, we had more points, but in terms of watching the game, us controlling, having as much control on the opposition team, and not watching this basketball up and down. So I hear what you're saying in a way, Tom. It is more. It's hard to say. It's quite a bit more relaxing. Would you say, when you're watching your team being able to defend and you trust them out of possession?
With me, I think defensive football is the term I'll always use. I think the best way I can describe it is effective. So a team, I know that, you know, Pep says defensive is being high press. That is a style of defending. To me, that isn't defensive effective football. For me, that is camping in and around your box, setting up in solid banks of whether you want to go 4-2-3-1, 4-4-2, even if you want to go back 5, setting up there, neutralising an attacking threat, picking some of them up. Obviously, all in your own half, because I feel that's where you can cause the most problems. And then being able to 3 passes, create a goal scoring opportunity. I've always preferred that style. I know that I wouldn't say Arsenal got more defensive this year. I'd just say you've got more controlling. I don't think you've set yourselves up deeper. You haven't set yourselves up better out of possession. You've just tried to artificialize your entire attack, which is why I think it's broken down a little bit this year. Because it's like you're almost trying to complete set passing routines to get it into the box and get chances created. You can't do that. I don't think that attack in football will ever truly be artificialized, because it needs quality. You could create the perfect attack, but if you've got Elijah Adebayo instead of Mo Salah, it's not going to come off, because certain players have certain skills, whereas the deeper back you get, the more defensive you get. Where players can still perform that system, which is why I prefer it. It's a system that can, I like to use the term plug and play. A good manager could come into a team that's bottom or a team that's top and employ a defensive effective system and get results. I don't think that many of these
That's what
attacking
Sam Allardyce
now,
did.
well, these
That's
ever,
what he
yeah,
did.
Sam Allardyce could do it at any
That's-
size of club.
And
Just
that's what a lot of people.
Before you go, Ram, I just want to quickly hear from Michael, and I'm going to quickly go around the room. Michael, sorry, you quickly jump in just in regards to these managers and what makes them so special. Like, why are they the ones, the Pep Guardiolas, the Johan Cruyffs? Like, if we're all saying, and we've all just looked at all the formations, and we've all just said football's just kind of gone basically like fashion, it's just gone full circle. People wearing baggy jeans back in the 90s. You got laughed at in the early 2000s for wearing baggy jeans. Now you're wearing baggy. I mean, now it's back to wearing baggy jeans. Same thing with formations. Why are then these managers seen as the pioneers, so to speak?
Well, I think it's very simple. Their drug is football. It's as simple as that. Oh, and Egypt just scored. Sorry, G. Oh my God, that was a terrible back pass. Look,
You're just a hater. That's
when it comes to like. No, I'm just speaking facts, bro. They just scored Egypt from a terrible back pass. Oh man, what are gonna do? They're trying to throw the game themselves. I think with like managers like with Pep, you can just see this guy. It's 24/7 football. Football. Nothing else. Not his wife, not his kids. It's only football. Same with Arteta. These guys, they just think of every single minute detail on how to perfect it. Now, Pep is just the master, and I think he's already one of the greatest managers of all time. Same with Fergie. Fergie wasn't such a tactical genius, maybe as we would say Pep is, you know, with the style of football. But Fergie just knew how to get the best out of, I want to say mediocre players, but would you say Gary Neville was an amazing right back? No. So he got the best out of these mediocre guys and elevated their level to winning Champions Leagues and winning Premier Leagues. So that's what I think we see with different managers. Now, I think with football nowadays, because I'm going to go back to like, is it artificial? I think I agree with Ends. Money has destroyed club football. It's destroyed it. Look at the Premier League. Now you see all the clubs in trouble with financial fair play or whatever the thing is called in England. Like everybody's now suffering from it. I just see like the last couple of years when I see Premier League clubs like Nottingham Forest and Everton's giving 60 million transfers to just bums from other leagues. I'm like, what are you guys doing? Are you even scouting? Or are you just saying some guy on Twitter put some highlight package and have some nice Travis Scott music in the background and say, yeah, we're going to sign him? Is that how the scouting goes nowadays? No, they're good, those videos. But let's be honest. Oh, my God. And Kuru scored again. Kuru scored again. It's difficult to really discuss, club football because I don't really feel the love for it anymore. I got to be honest. Of course, I watch Liverpool, and that's the club I love, but I just don't see the enjoyment. It's just too pressurized on getting results because of the prize money. It's all about the prize money. There's just way too much at stake. Now you see like leagues like Serie A, they're going to 18-team leagues. Why? Because they need to make more money to compete with the Premier League. This is the issue. That's why I prefer international football. And I've said that now for the last couple of years because I see the true essence of football still. Players giving their all. You see the individual quality still. Like, I watched Unahi yesterday. Unahi looked like a 100 million pound player. The way he just destroyed the midfield. Now, of course, it was Tanzania, and you can take that with a grain of salt. But I just see the difference with players when they go to their international teams, and they're just like, they just seem free because they're so pressurized to perform at their club. And that's the same for the managers. Look at Xavi. Xavi won La Liga last season. Now he's fourth, and everybody wants him gone. Everybody, even Laporta, who loves the guy. So this is the problem with club football. Too much pressure on the managers and the players. Look, I was with UG last season. I thought Klopp was done. I would have went a different direction. He's turned it around. I would have said adios, Klopp. But hey, you know what? Good thing that's what.
Just so that everyone heard it, it wasn't just me who said this.
Well. No, it wasn't just you.
We all heard that Michael. I just need everybody else to know that so that they don't think, it's only G.
I would also like on the record as well that it wasn't just me either. There was a bigger section of people who.
I would like to go on record that I did not say those things. So
look at everyone backtracking now. You got to stick to your guns now. But anyways,
don't try that.
Anyways, I'll leave that.
I will be backtracking. I will be backtracking the first one, but I've got video evidence of it. Unfortunately, I can't avoid that.
I have to respectfully disagree with Michael and Ants. Money has nothing to do with it. Money is exacerbates what the problem already exists. Those Everton and Nottingham Forest are spending money they don't have. That has nothing to do with the money. It's called responsibility. That's why I don't feel sorry for none of them. You were told there was a rule put in place saying you can't do this, and they did it. That has nothing to do with the money. You have the money in your pocket. No, I understand the pressure part. Yes, because if I'm giving
because there's so much prize money. If you don't perform, if you get relegated in the Premier League, you're screwed. Let's look at Reading. Reading are basically going to get liquidated right now. Well, obviously they have poor owners, but it's because of the prize. If you look at how much is the TV deal of the Premier League?
You know why I don't feel sorry for them? You know why I don't feel sorry for them? Because I'm looking at a team like Brighton, and they are doing very well with less money and recruiting better. Teams are lazy. Let's be honest. We've seen Chelsea.
Oh, yeah, of course. They just spend stupid money.
Especially with Forest, they didn't even as in obviously everyone knows my dad's a Forest.
Now that owner's a crook, anyways.
So that has nothing to do with the money. That's just responsibility.
They don't know how to rebuild properly. They don't know how to build a team. They just went and splashed a load of money on players and didn't build a core team. I think I just saw Egypt.
Does it give you?
I'm not even.
Which other team did the same thing?
Can I just throw something into the mix, which is like someone's not really talked about as well?
Please, man.
I also feel that the fans have changed. Like the way, because of technology and because of TV and because of media and the internet and all of that kind of stuff, our attention span isn't long anymore. Like we need short bursts. Like I can barely stay awake watching England play in any match. Sorry, like international football is so boring. Like sometimes it really is. Like the final, France and France and Argentina, that was an incredible final, probably the best final I'll ever watch, to be fair. But that stands out like more than any other things. I don't think we watch enough football from start to finish. And also the media, they don't show you all of the football games anymore. They show you clips. Like, when do you ever see a goalkeeper take a goal kick? You know what I mean? When have you ever seen a goalkeeper take a goal kick? Because the cameras don't show you that kind of stuff now. So you only see certain parts of the game now, and it's the bit that gives you the buzz, like the goal or the chance or the shot or the foul, stuff like that. It doesn't show you the actual games anymore like you used to watch. And I would say that side of it has changed as well, which makes football, it does make it a bit more artificial, because it's the same thing you see all the time, over and over again, because that's what gets the clicks. That's what makes you watch it now.
And again,
they just showed you the way it used to be. Would we all watch it? Like, I don't know whether we would.
K-Mac,
We're different people now.
That's exactly the problem. You are not paying attention to watch the game. I'll pick up example. Liverpool fans are talking about Szoboszlai is crap because he's not scoring a goal by dribbling 10 players and shooting a banger from 40 yards out. Attention and watching exactly what he's doing. That is a fan problem. Sit down, pay attention, just like Tariq said about Arteta. A lot of people say, oh, we are pragmatic. Instead of paying attention, say, no, he's moving players all around so that they don't burn out towards the end of the season. People don't see that. You got people on AFTV be like, oh, he got to leave because I don't like the way we play. That's your problem. The game changes. Well, we all agree that the game changes as generation moves on. A lot of people still want that back in the day R9 type of game. Where's another R9? Where are we going to find it? So you have to look at what the managers are doing and pay attention. Watch your players. Okay, Liverpool play Arsenal is a game of cerebral. Look how the players are moving. That's Klopp moving his players like a chess. Klopp moving his players certain way, Arteta moving his players certain way. At the end of the day, the one who wins are the one who did a very good job in terms of managing their players, and their players taking the instruction that was given to them and doing it. Now, there are certain players who are not good enough. Let's be honest. They can't play at that IQ level, right? That's why players like Messi is known as a generation player, because he could play across any generation. Will he be as great? Probably not, but he can play at all generations.
I wanna. There was 2 points. One that Ram made about the box-to-box midfielders. I feel like we do have box-to-box midfielders. We just don't play systems that suits them anymore. Especially in the Prem, we have way too many teams that sit back, so there's no use for a box-to-box. You'd say Liverpool have a couple. Even if you don't like Man United, they have one or two that can do that job. One's injured and one's Scott McTominay, whether you like him or not. He'll be class. Chelsea has box-to-box players. Man City has box-to-box players. It's just the Premier League isn't suited for the players now. You look abroad, there's more of them, and you get, your Frankie de Jongs, but they're like ball retainers, and they keep it simple instead of utilizing their skill sets, getting forward and getting back. And that's why, when you're saying about official, that's why it is, because we're not allowing these players to do what they need to do.
So
and
when
then,
and just on the box-to-box midfield, I think I should have been clear about that. When I say box-to-box midfielders, I go
backtracking, bro.
No. I need to make it clear.
No, make your point, because I got another one as well. But go ahead.
No. When it comes to, for me, when I see box-to-box midfielders, I think Stevie, Ballack, Frings, Mateus,
Lampard.
I wouldn't a little bit Lampard, but I would say more of those archetypal, everything is an 8, minimum an 8, defending 8, shooting 8, passing 8. Everything has to be a minimum of 8. And that's why I go back to the idea of the jack of all traits. There's not many players with that jack of all traits where he's everything he does is a solid 8. Defending wise, he's good. Shooting, he's good. Passing's good. Dribbling, decent. It's good. There's none of that happening anymore. And I think that's because of the whole systems and the style of plays and the way you want players to play a certain way, that kind of thing, in my opinion.
And Ram, I think there's only one player really that you described, and that's Jude Bellingham. I'm going to be honest. I think he does everything at an 8. Everything. And he's shown that this season. He's
I
shown you
wouldn't
the
say
goals,
defending.
he's shown you the defensive work.
Nah,
Yeah, but he hasn't had to defend that much because he's got Fede Valverde. But at Dortmund,
Yeah,
you saw
yeah,
the defending because that midfield was non-existent except for him.
Yeah, no, look,
Just before-
there are players out there, bro. It's just the
Yeah.
fact that they're not asked to do these jobs. So what you're asking for your box-to-box player to do is not what the managers are asking for them to do.
Exactly.
So you want them to be defensively sound, but that's where we got sixes now. Do you know what I mean? Where before your 8 would be that 6, he would be the 8, he would be the 10, he would be creating, running back, making tackles in your point, Steven Gerrard. But we have got these players, they're just not being asked or utilized. And then go into what Tom said earlier about the attack. I've heard Pep say it, but yet again, I don't see his forwards rotating. Haaland stays through the middle, Grealish stays out on the left, and then whoever he plays on the right, they just stay in their position. They don't rotate. It's not free flowing like you would say with Liverpool when we had Bobby, Mane, and Salah, where you just don't know where they might end up based on the attack. That was more.
But
of a
would you?
free-flowing.
I was gonna say. I was just about to touch that because I was gonna use Man City anyway.
Okay.
We'll use what you just said there as that argument there, and I'll also throw in Arsenal. When do we rarely ever see Mo on the left side, Mane on the right side? When do I really ever see Saka on the left, Martinelli on the? I'm not saying they never do it. I'm not gonna sit here and act like they've not done it once or twice.
They never do it.
They never really do it anyway. They kind of stay right wing, left wing. The one who probably moved the most will probably be the guy through the middle. So, i.e., Bobby will at the time would have dropped a little bit deeper into that midfield area, help out. Jesus will do the same thing. And then obviously at Manchester City, Haaland just stays up top. Even though I have seen him drop deep a couple times, but he will stay up top. I would have said Man City maybe when they didn't have Haaland, maybe then I would have seen a bit more, maybe. But even then, they kind of, Mahrez ain't trying to pop up on the left side. Mahrez trying to stay on the right side because he wants to cut in and.
Yeah, they do train for the attacking sense. That's why I think it's artificial because let's just use Lucho for an example. First came to the Premier League, he done things off the cuff, how he played, enjoyed football, did what he wanted to do. And now you can see it slowly but surely getting drained out of him. And Lucho's only at his best when he gets the freedom to go and do what he wants to do. When he's playing within the constraints of the system, this is why people have been getting onto him. He's not doing enough. He's not scoring enough goals. He's not getting enough assists because we want him to play as an out-and-out winger, but he's more of a roaming inside forward-ish. He can do the winger thing because there's a difference between the Colombian Lucho and the Liverpool one. Because the Colombian one, people told me it was his knee that was an issue. It was this, it was that. But when he plays for Colombia, bro, this man has the freedom to do whatever he wants to go
street
and do.
baller.
And he just goes and enjoys the game as the way it should be played. But when he plays for Liverpool, it's different. All these coaches say there's a freedom there. Nah, there's still patterns of play. No coach in their right mind at the Premier League high level tells me there's no pattern of play getting worked on from an attacking sense in going forward in the Premier League. There has to be. You can't break down a team without any ideas. You can't tell me I'll pass the ball to you and we just create whatever comes to our imagination. When we had Salah, Mane, and Bobby, you could probably sell me that because I'm like, do you know what? These men just played off the cuff. There's moments when Bobby drops in and flicks it around the corner and this man just ends up in that space. But even that probably has to be worked on at some extent. But now you can see the patterns of play. The inside forward drops in, the fullback goes on the overlap, you give it to him, space opens up, square, tap in. And you can do that time and time again, regardless of what you play against.
Do you know what's
man, I feel like it is artificial, man. This whole thing is long.
Do you know what's funny? When you talk about individuality, and you think when you say Bobby, Mane, Salah back in the day, the only form of individuality that I saw from them was probably off the ball, like the movement that they would do, a little bit of a turn, a little bit of a off the ball kind of movement. That's the only form of individuality that they had a little bit about them. But when it comes to on the ball, it's very much structured. Kind of, you got to pass, you got to progress in these certain ways. Otherwise, it just won't work. So it's interesting, and it's a bit weird comparing it from like yesteryear where we had Ronaldinho and Rivaldo doing whatever they wanted to do on the ball.
Would you say Trent is more off the ball, like off the cuff now?
Yes,
would you say he's our only player that really can do?
No, I think Trent has his patterns of play that
he's individual.
You can kind of he's got individual brilliance that he's got. Obviously, his passing range
No,
is
but he's
like
doing
the best in the
things
world.
that
I
nobody
wouldn't say
else
it's
is
off
going to
the
do in the team. Like,
Well,
because nobody else can do it in the
I
team,
wouldn't
though.
say
Like,
that's
I
Yeah,
don't
I
his
think
think
own
that's
it's.
just
thing.
his
I just say
ability.
that's him. That's just
Yeah,
his
I don't
own
think
player.
it's. Yeah,
Because
when we're talking
Salah
off.
does things that no other player in this team does. I think Nunes does things that no other player in this team does. I think a lot of I think the narrative around system and ability is getting very sort of mashed together.
Yeah.
Trent does what he does because he's got the ability to do what he does, not because the system enables him to do it. Some of the passes he plays are not because we invert him into midfield. The passes he plays are because he is that good. We just try and do something, you can argue, to get him into better positions for those passes. He would still play those passes without the system. He would still do the same level of creativity without the system, just in a different way. Same way Salah would do the same level of output in different ways, as we've seen throughout his Liverpool career. It starts off with goals, we're now moving to a more generalised thing. Players' ability is still paramount. I look at everyone goes, the tactic that won titles and stuff. I think tactics and systems and tactical battles that everyone goes on about. No top side has a tactical battle against Burnley in 16th or whoever's in 15th or 14th or 17th. That is down to ability. That is down to, do the players want it? Do they perform at that level? The only tactical battles come in when you're up against the creme de la creme. I think the only tactical battles that the Premier League really saw were Liverpool versus City. And even then, battles is a strong word because both sides just played the same system over and over again. It was just which team tried harder on the day, which team had the look on the day. A lot of it is just down to natural ability. So a lot of these players that we go, well, the system's catered to them. They'd still do that if the system wasn't catered to them. You just see it more because everything starts to flow through them because that's what you do. If I know someone's good at their job, I'd try and push more things through them. But I wouldn't do it if I didn't know. That they'd have to show me first before I moved to that phase. Trent showed us when he was this more traditional right back who held width and whipped in crosses that he had the capabilities to play at centre mid and could play these line breaking passes and could operate in the middle of the park. It's just now that we're doing it more and pushing him into that position more often. We're seeing it more. It wasn't like he never had it and the systems brought it out. I think both amplify each other.
No, I think what everyone's saying, by the way, and people in the chat, everyone on the panel, again, all of this is just opinions at the end of the day.
and I think Odegaard's like that as well for Arsenal, by the way. Like,
it's all of
more
this is just
individual.
opinions in terms of what we might think, in terms of like players and systems, and ultimately it's going to be the managers who, at the end of the day, they're the ones who are going to play these systems that they think is best, and there's going to be, I guess, key managers in periods of time that's understandable who are going to have something about them, whether it be the tactics, the style of football. Now everybody wants to copy, Pep in terms of this era, in terms of the what do you call it, inverted fullbacks. Before, nobody was doing inverted; it was only Pep Guardiola doing it, and then other teams wanted to kind of follow suit in that kind of way. He sets a trend. Now we all kind of want to, follow that kind of path. I think we'll move forward.
I got to challenge that. We need to stop saying Pep starts everything.
No. When I say, again, like I said, not in this era. No one, not one person would. Nah, I mean, if he did, I never saw that. But if we go back to, like I showed you, the 1880s, of course, yes. I mean, in that era,
I'm not even talking about go back then. It's like some people, when you ask them, who's your best player? They'll be like, this person. I said, did you watch this person? Oh, no. Well, I wasn't there in the World War II, but I know what happened in the World War II, right? So you got to do your research. A lot of people need to spend time. If you're going to talk about the subject, you got to learn about the subject. Pep, even the inverted thing, he didn't even do it that much. It was 1 or 2 games where some of his Walker was injured, so he brought in Stones.
Arguably, it was Saki that started it.
Yeah, Stones. He brought in Stones to do some inverted thing. All of a sudden, inverted. Then it becomes a bad word on Twitter, and then everybody think that he started it. Same thing with the tiki-taka. Pep style of play. These games have been going on for years, and that's where the question of the subject that we're talking about is so imperative, because people need to do their research before you start labeling somebody as he started something. But I would like to talk about the whole system thing. Remember how a
Before
lot of people,
before you go, because I want to get
Yeah.
into that literally straight after. I just want to ask literally. I want to go around to everybody on the panel. Just quickly ask you, and again, a one sentence answer. What's your favorite formation? If you had a team, doesn't matter what team.
4-2-3-1.
Could be.
You don't need to wait. 4-2-3-1 is my favorite because guess what? It brings the best out of every player in the system. It brings you a number 10. Some of you guys miss those type of players because everybody keeps saying we miss that style of player. You got a 4-2-3-1. You have a number 10, a Coutinho type, a Ronaldinho type, right? You could have a striker. You could choose to have a Aguero type of strikers, or you could have a big, solid, old school striker as your one. On your wing, you could have your Mane and Salah type, or you could have an old school bombing forward wingers. It depends on how you structure the system, whether you're going 2 on the wing, either you're going to attack it or you're going to go extra wide. 4 in the back. That means the fullback can stay old school, or the fullback can be Robo and Trent, where they just keep bombing forward. Your center back stays back. You could push forward like Klopp, or you could stay back. Then your 2 holding, a lot of people talking about box to box don't exist anymore. You got 2 of them. One of them can be a box to box, or one of them can just be the destroyer. Somebody that every Liverpool fan keeps screaming about, which I don't understand. So for me, 4-2-3-1, I think, is imperative. It could go against a 4-3-3, an attacking team, attacking formation like a 4-3-3. It could go against a 3-4-3, and against a back 3. But sometimes with a back 3, you will struggle because they got 3 center backs that can take care of the attackers that are coming back. But 4-2-3-1 for me.
Else, best formation and where?
I think 4-2-3-1. I was just going through the Liverpool squad in my head and thinking how many of our players are actually naturally 10s that Klopp has changed into over his time, like Curtis Jones, Harvey Elliott, Szoboszlai, Coutinho, Lallana, like there's so many players. Like I miss that number 10. That's the bit of individuality, the bit of unpredictability, especially in attack, because you see it in training that it's constant patterns, constant that they repeat and repeat and repeat. But I miss that number 10 that would just out of nowhere produce a bit of magic. We see that with Trent in a different role, but I just missed that pure 10. Yeah.
No. Okay.
4-4-2 with the diamonds. So you've got your DM, you've got your 2 midfielders, and then you've got your number 10, and you've got your striker, little big striker, or even skilled striker, non-skilled striker. Like I just think that's just fantastic football. And then you've got your left back and your right back whether you want to push them forward, because then your DM can then drop into a back 3. Like it's so flexible. It's so old school as well. It's also what Klopp won tons and tons of stuff with at Dortmund, which kind of made him the guy that we wanted at Liverpool, but he's never had a chance to play it.
I disagree. It was 4-2-3-1.
Yeah, more 4-2-3-1.
It was 4-2-3-1.
He started off with a diamond, and then in 2010-11 he started off with a diamond. Then he pushed Lewandowski back, and he didn't want to play as a 10, but he pushed him back and ended up winning the league from there. Then obviously Goetze came through, and then everything was history. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Ends best formation and why?
I don't have one, bro. I'm gonna be the long one. I know, man. I don't actually have one. I feel like there's a formation for every team, and I feel like for us as Liverpool, I feel like there's some.
No. This isn't for you as a. But I wasn't asking anybody for Liverpool or for Arsenal or for whoever. No, just if you had a team, you could pick any players in the world, and you had to set up a formation. What would that formation be? Sorry, I didn't make that clear to everyone.
I might not play with a striker still. The death of the striker is Savage's word. Nah, there's one I'm using with my under 12s, bro. No strikers, bro. Midfielders and anyone in the attacking position can take over.
Okay.
Yeah.
Frank
I don't actually have one,
Lampard
bro. I like bro, it's cold. I can't even lie. With the 6, We have a 6, and that's it, bro. Defend 6, and the rest midfielders, they can be the attackers, the wingers. You know what I mean? Pop up anywhere they like. I don't actually have one, bro, because I feel like the 4-2-3-1 used to be mine. The 4-3-3, I used to like it. The diamond, I used to like it. But I feel like with football, it's advancing so much now. I feel like you can always beat certain formations. Even the 5 at the back now, people are learning to break down. So apart from us in some games, but just in general, I feel like if you play a formation where no one knows where the strikers are going to be and anyone can make runs in behind, I feel like that's probably where you cause the most damage.
No,
but I don't
I
actually
feel
have
you.
one. Short answer.
No, bro. It's all love. Tariq.
My favorite is, and it sounds very old school, but every single formation that we've heard so far is a variation of it, and it's 4-4-2. Because if you got a team and you got 4-4-2, and you know, whereas what Quasi was saying and in Els in terms of you've got a striker who's very good at dropping in deep, or an attacking player, you want to allow them to have freedom, like a Dennis Bergkamp, who wasn't really a striker, a number 10 playing in a 4-4-2, but off of Thierry Henry. You can do that. You can do the big man, little man thing. You can play as a target man. You can have so many different ways and variants. You attack with 5, you defend with 5 in a 4-4-2. And whether that's your fullbacks being one of your attacking players or your midfielders, vice versa. So 4-4-2 is the one that even our teams, Arsenal, Liverpool, Man City, how do they defend? Go check how they defend. Their position, their formation, out of possession. In possession, different game. Out of possession, it's a 4-4-2. It's the way that you get the most balanced structure, and you can add any little nuance in any way that you want, or you can completely simplify it for a younger age group to understand. So yeah, 4-4-2.
With Liverpool one though, we defend 4-1-4-1.
A variation of a 4-4-2 again. A 4-1-4-1
when Liverpool
is
defend, it's 2 at the back.
Yeah.
Well, at times, who knows?
On the halfway line.
12th, your best or favorite formation and why?
So, Enz kind of stole my thunder a little bit. I'm with Enz on that. I don't. That's all good. It's all good. Like geniuses think alike, right? Or like minds think alike. They say so.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing too. I didn't really have information.
There's a panel of geniuses, so it's all good. But I believe personally, I like what we've seen with Liverpool's system. What Pep has really influenced Klopp with his own system in a sense. And I don't believe in formations any longer. I've come to the concept that formations only exist at the very beginning of games, or is this something it's something broken down simplistically for a lot of people, because when you look at the actual flow and play on the pitch, a lot of formations that you originally saw as being the starting formation or something isn't what you're seeing on the pitch. You'll see a team go from a 4-3-3 to a 4-2-4 to a 4-2-3-1 to back to a 4-3-3. Like, as in, there's no real true formation to me in my interpretation of what I like and what I see some of the greater minds in the gameplay, which is Klopp and Pep. So I've been calling it this for a while, but I think of it as, if anything, an amoeba formation, as in a lot of times you'll see players playing in positions that you're not normally, suspect of seeing them play. So I enjoy the fact that total football exists more so with the team that I support. So, and there's more players like that today with the total football concept. And I do enjoy the concept too that we're utilizing, which is with the utilizing wide triangles and such, and creating more like patterns of play and fluidity. All these different things are important to me, as I've seen as the evolution of the game has occurred. So when I say my formation, I'd say an amoeba formation, I guess you could call it. But if anything, I'm not like stringent upon there has to be some type of rigid formation any longer in the game, or at least in the game when you have players to the caliber of the teams that the majority of us support on this panel.
All good. And Ram.
I'm on mute. And I guarantee when I finish what I'm saying, G's gonna come up with some stupid joke. I swear to God.
I'm not gonna say anything, bro. Just say what you're gonna say.
He will.
He will. I know he will. For
No,
me,
Savage is killing me in the chat, bro. This man.
for
Savage is
me,
dumb. Savage is dumb.
I'm glad he didn't kill me.
for me, I think I'm gonna. It's a lot of what you all said, but for me, it depends on the kind of football that you're gonna play, and I'm the kind of guy that wants to play all round great football, great defensively, great going forward, great dominating the midfield, and for me, that would be the 4-2-3-1 in my opinion. But for myself, if I want to play beautiful football, as in like I want to see the ball a lot, 4-3-1-2. Instead of having an actual DM, it would be 3-8s and control the game and just pass it around. The AC Milan team, that is probably that team, 03 to 05. You know, Shevchenko, Crespo, Rui Costa was there for a little bit. Gattuso, Pirlo, Seedorf, Maldini, Nesta, Cafu, Stam. I can't remember what's it called? The Georgian left back. I can't say his name. Kadeletska or something like that. That team, brilliant players that could play football. And if you want a team that want to play football, for me, 4-3-1-2 will just get the best out of everyone. It will be scintillating, in my opinion.
No, I hear what everyone's kind of saying. Sorry,
I'm sorry. I want to also, there's something else that there's been so much information been out there, but I know people keep saying the 10 as well. There's an interesting article out there, but that interviewed Cesc Fabregas, as in like I know we all like rate him as a player, and he speaks on the depth of the 10, basically, as in like the 10 is no longer really a position that is coveted by a lot of different managers across the world, but also in the sense of like that need for that player. He believes this is Seth's interpretation, is that it's no longer relevant. It's no longer being utilized like it was during his era. So I get, I mean, like myself, I wanted the 4-2-3-1 when it came to when we had Bobby on this team. I was saying I would like to see Bobby, for instance, be utilized in that 10 role for us, for instance, you know. But yet, you know, despite my interpretation of what a 10 would be or a 10 should be, you know, obviously Klopp didn't go that direction. So it's just something of like, I know a lot of people keep saying 4-2-3-1, 4-2-3-1. Not many teams really utilize a 4-2-3-1 in essence nowadays.
I think also another formation I'll probably say, sorry, G, I know I said my bit, but 5-2-3 as well. I think on its day, it can be very, very hard to break down, but also very, very hard to stop at the same time. If you've got the right players, it's probably one of the hardest formations to get the best out of your players. But if you got the exact right players that you have, it will be unstoppable, in my opinion. But more or less every player in that position has to be a 10.
Are you talking about the high fullbacks?
High fullbacks and a ball playing and a proper ball playing.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Conte played that exact formation. Yeah.
What I was gonna say, and big up everyone by the way, and I like all of these formations to be honest. I like the 4-2-3-1. I think that's something that I feel Liverpool could maybe play, you know, in the future potentially under a different manager, or maybe Klopp can maybe implement that. One thing I didn't hear from many of you, maybe one of you potentially said it. You all spoke about the formations. You all said exactly what each player can do and the roles. Nobody spoke about style, though. Surely, so for example, Ram, you just said they're 5-2-3. Okay, what if I just got Burnley to play a 5-2-3 formation with their style of play? Or if I got Luton to play a 5-2-3 with their style of play? Is that not equally as important as the formation in itself? Because we're all talking about we want the 8s to do this and I want that and da-da-da, but no one mentioned, okay, but I want it to be gegenpress. I want it to be tiki-taka. I want it to be something else. Like I feel like we all focus solely just on the formation and the role, so to speak, but we never said, well, what's our style though? It could be a Luton style or a Man City Barcelona style.
For me, that depends on
that. Was formation. Sorry.
But I think for me,
that's what I'm asking: is the two not mixed? You know what I mean?
When it comes to those kind of things, I think it's very much down to the players that we don't have. We don't know what players we'll get, but
yeah, I hear it.
It's when you talk about the 5-2-3, I was quite.
It's your team. Your team. You pick whatever players. KDB, Messi,
if we're going off players right now in football that can probably play the 5-2-3 that I want them to play, I think one player that I'll probably have in that team that's probably going to be the most important player in my team is David Alaba. And it might sound mad, but it would be David Alaba in that team as centre back. That'll probably be the only player to play in that team that is a guaranteed starting spot. And it's more or less we play out through the back. We make sure that everything is flowing through him. Like he's the mailman, he's the messenger. He makes sure that the ball is posted and signed, and everything's authorized by him. You know what I mean?
I feel you.
So it does depend on the player. I think, in my opinion, when I talk about, in my opinion, how philosophies are shaped, it's down to the best player that you got. Like I said, Johan Cruyff, total football, Beckenbauer with Germany. It's the same thing, in my opinion, with that.
So that goes on to the next part, the last kind of part of the show that I wanted to kind of touch on, which kind of Ram is speaking there, is about the player roles. So I can't remember who mentioned it. I think Michael mentioned it before about, talking about, say, Gary Neville, Sir Alex Ferguson being able to get, someone who probably says kind of meaty, and then looking at someone like Trent. Trent and Gary Neville do not play the same way. Whatever you want to say about Trent, whatever you want to say about Gary Neville, one does one thing probably okay, like in terms of defending, so to speak. The other one is a fantastic player going forward, probably one of the best players on planet Earth right now in terms of just going forward as a player. Forget even just as a right back. But when we then look at all of these other things, Kwasi mentioned, about the whole R9 thing, where we're going to get another R9. How about where we're just going to get another just out and out just striker? Forget just it has to be R9 level. Why is it we think that now the player roles are seemingly so much more different, but we're seeing the same formations? We just saw the formations are going back in, they're just going back in time. But now we're seeing inside forward. Salah's now not just a normal right midfielder like David Beckham was. Or, the left wing, it's left winger now. I can't remember if anyone's ever mentioned the word left midfielder in the last 5 years. It's left winger now, or inside forward, or false nine, or centre forward. I don't even know what the difference between a centre forward and a striker is. Like, what is it now with today's game that is changing so much that now we need these so specific roles when they're probably in essence doing the same thing as they were doing back then? Els, I'll go to you first.
Ooh, that's tough.
Sorry to put you on the spot like that.
Wow, that's tough.
I was hoping I wouldn't get picked first.
Sorry, guys. I've got to make it difficult for you, man. Sorry.
But what I would say with the whole players thing is something that I really hate about modern football now is that players like Trent, where you can't necessarily put them in a box, like, is he a right back? Is he a midfielder? Is he a traditional right back? It's used as a stone to put him down. So a lot of people will say, oh, he's not world class because he's not a world class right back and he doesn't play midfield, so he's not world class. But if you think about the footballer in itself, it's a world class footballer. Like, nothing else matters. Like, I feel like in this day and age, I feel like we focus a lot. Like, I remember you were talking about stats and how like over focused they've been. Like, for example, when we look at, let's use Nunes as an example. Like, people are bigging Nunes up because of his goals and assists. But if you look at goals alone, which is his job, he's a striker, it's been nowhere near good enough. So I feel like
12 is already angry.
I like stats, but I hate there's been a lot of useless stats passed around. Like, for example, I don't know, like all this XG and all this, it's just become very complex. And that's something that I've really not liked about football. Like, of course, like like if you look at Liverpool, you look at Bobby, for example. Because one thing that Klopp said when he came in is that he picks formations based on the players he has, which is going back to what Ram said. And who knows what formation he would have picked if Sturridge stayed fit.
Good, yeah, that's a good
He
shot.
might have gone with a 4-2-3-1.
That's a big point. Big point.
Yeah. So it's, I don't know. Football these
That was a kind
days-
of. I was going to say that,
Well-
that was kind of another thing to kind of get into, you know, whilst you guys are obviously talking about like the, you know, the players and stuff like that, is because the two I think are interlinked. Is stats then kind of ruining what we then? Because you obviously you just mentioned the Nunes thing, and I saw 12. I saw you shake your head. I think when we're looking at it like that, in terms of stats, obviously, if you took one stat and just said, okay, I'm just going to look and focus on goals because that's what we're going to say. I'm not going to say that's what Klopp said because people kept telling me that's not what Klopp said. So, okay. If we think that Nunes is a goal scorer, as an example, just for this example, and we looked at his goals, we'll be like, okay, that's not really a lot of goals, so to speak, kind of thing. As you said, you then add in another stat, all of a sudden, we're looking at him as a striker, and we're now saying that player role is fantastic. That player in that player role is fantastic. Guess what? He's got 10 assists. He's got, I think it's 8 goals or you know, whatever it is. That's why I feel like with the stats thing, their stats are good because they are factual things of whatever it is you're trying to find out. But I feel like the way we use them, and myself included, the way we kind of use stats these days, it's just to kind of suit our own argument, regardless of anything, to be honest, whether it's to back it up or. Oh, no, please go on, go on. Rebuttal.
I didn't mean to step over you.
No.
It's not though. Look, I get it. We've all spoken about how the fact of like we've all referenced how we would like to have things be closer to the past or the generations of before. And I know we're all on computers, right? And everything else. Time changes, you know. And I get that people don't like stats, but the stats are how we get analytics. That's how you get that. That's the numbers and all the stuff that gets crunched into these algorithms is how a lot of these teams, or at least the team that I follow, you know, how they get their analysis on these players is not just eye test any longer. I get the whole like
I agree.
Everyone understands the Moneyball concept, you know, like as in, yeah, if we were in a room together and that would be the argument. That would be the argument of saying, oh, there's too many stats being thrown around. What's this guy from MIT or Harvard doing in the room here? He doesn't know football, you know, but yet he's the one that's breaking down these numbers. They're important. They're how we do get to from point A to point B when it comes to these algorithms. And I get it when it comes to also the conceptions that we have for strikers and everything else. I just spoke on, you said no one spoke on systems or mentalities of what you want with the actual formations. I said that total football is a concept right now, as in, you know, the reason why I believe that these wide triangles or the ability to utilize these players in these triangles in these formations is because we have players that can play the right wing, he can play central, he can play in the midfield. It doesn't necessarily matter. It's not like this so stringent upon that player having to play, oh, you're just a striker. There's so often that we find these players playing in different spots on the pitch that don't necessarily correlate to what their position technically is. And I think that sometimes as a fan, we just want it simple. I've heard so many times people say, well, I don't want to be a statistician. I don't want to be a tactician. I don't want to be an accountant. You know, there's so many complexities to this game nowadays that we just want we want the game to be beautiful again. And we want it to be easy, entertaining and everything else. But yet we don't understand, or I wouldn't say understand, but we're not putting into the same equation the fact that there's a lot more to make the game up today than it used to be. And that is with all of the algorithms, the analytics, the numbers, you know, the fact that, you know, the game has moved to a global concept, whereas now, you know, players are playing from all corners of the globe. Those things are all parts and points that have to get put into it. But often we don't want to deal with that. We just want our team to be good and it to be fun to watch. And
you know what
that's not always the case.
Do you know what I love
I definitely hear that.
When it comes to the total football, people saying it's coming back and everything, everyone's starting to use sort of like everyone has to be going forward, everyone has to be going backwards, that kind of stuff. Football's all about what goes around comes around. Like total football had its time when it was the best thing, but then someone found a kryptonite of it. It happens, cycles happen. Everyone started back in in the 1990s it was 4-4-2. Then in the mid to early 2000s it was 4-3-1-2, and then late 2000s to early 2010s 4-2-3-1 had its day. Sorry, 4-3-3. Then mid to late 2000s it was 2010s it was 4-2-3-1. Then 4-3-3 came back again. Now everyone being going back to total football. As a matter of time until somebody finds that kryptonite of total football game where it's like you just keep going round and round and round and round and round. You know what I mean?
Real quick, so this is what I was gonna say earlier, G. Remember when people say America was gonna destroy football?
Yeah, I remember that.
Okay, here we go. Because now, guess what? All the stats that we are using now is what came from NBA, NFL, even Major League Baseball. Even the NFL and track, right? They always ask, there's a documentary called Bigger, Faster, Stronger. Very good science, sports science for people who like that stuff. Go watch it. So if I take any of you guys and go train in Bolivia, what's the difference between that and somebody who takes steroids to run faster? Right? Because you training in Bolivia, they are in what, 10,000 above sea level?
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing, right? There's the natural side and there's a science side. So when it comes to football is becoming a science, and there's more athletes than footballers, right? People could run faster, stronger. EPL at one point, it was borderline unhealthy for some people to play because of heart issues.
Tony Adams smoking in the change room. And
You're stealing my
Tony Adams and Paul Mercer.
Stealing my
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then now you got people running at the rate where it could kill you if you haven't. It's ridiculous. You see what I mean? So that is where the sports is going. Sports is evolutionalized. It goes in circles.
Exactly.
Eventually, we're gonna get 10 Messis who could play at 100 miles per hour, do this shortcut. I mean, Ronaldo blew his knees because he was so fast. You know, some of his knee injuries was because he was too fast for his own body. Same problem people fear for Mbappe. So I think money is part of it. I'm not going to throw all that away, but we can't use money as money is part of the game. No, you have to be responsible with the money you get. You know, with power require more responsibility. We have to look at the grassroots. Who are coaching these kids when they're growing up? Are you letting the kids have freedom to learn how to play the game? And then when they get to a certain level, what is the team looking at? Barcelona, they like kids who know how to pass, who knows how to control ball. You go to another Madrid, they like more athletes than just tiki-taka. So I think it's choose your flavor. Where you at, you choose what you want. And it's always based on who's at helm.
Also, I wanted to touch on something as well. I mean, the whole thing that Kwasi said about athletes is 100%. I was going to mention Chariots of Fire. Like, at one stage, you could only do a mile in 4 minutes, right? You know what I mean? That's anyone can. A lot of people can break that now. I was also going to talk about role models. There's a lot of players that want to be like a Trent now. Like they want to be a right back who can do all of those things. So you've got players that are playing in those positions who want to be like the role models, and some of the role models might be like an Alaba or a Marcelo. You know, back in the day, like they wanted to be like a marauder in, you know, attacking side of the player. Like there were so many Brazilians who followed in Cafu's footsteps. You know, and you've got like Italian players that might even look at a player like that. I want to be like him. So they as they grow older and they become a footballer, they play like that and they watch those videos and they want to be like that player. So yeah, like they could be all over the world. The player isn't like that as a role model, but their role model they've looked at is someone who isn't from their country. And maybe in the olden days they couldn't do that because they didn't see them, because they didn't have access to watch them on television and those internet clips and stuff like that. So I would say a lot of it is to do with, you know, as I mentioned before, media, the fan, how you are as a fan now. You know, a lot of fans become footballers, you know, as kids. You know what I mean? And the way they're brought into a football team now is from the age of like 4, which is crazy, like if you ask me. But it is. Like, you know, we've got like Gerald Quansah, he's been at the club since he was 5. Like, you know, it's like that.
That in itself is quite. I didn't know you'd actually been in since the age of 5. To be fair,
you know, you're integrated into that from such a young age. And if Liverpool had been a pass and move club from that time, you know, I know we're not a pass and move club as per se, but we still do play similar. So that's been inbred into how we coach our kids, to our under 16s, under 18s, under 21s, into the first team. And you know,
sorry.
It's kind of it. I've got to go.
I actually agree with what you do. All right, bro. Thank you for coming on, bro. Thank you.
If you do me a favor, repeat the question one more time, because there's so many different takes, bro. My mind's just trying to listen to everyone and their take.
So just kind of looking at the player roles, you know, why have they become more prevalent? Is stats kind of changing people's opinions on the roles? Obviously, 12 spoke about, you know, Liverpool, their analytical team, and etc. That's how we will kind of base our recruitment, should we say, or we used to, or however we still do it now. But are player roles changing, you know, over time, and why are they changing? Why have they become such a prevalent thing? Why does it matter that now we need as I said, a false 9, as opposed to what was wrong with just having your normal Alan Shearer just sticks up front and scores you 260 goals? You know, what was wrong with that if that was working, you know, kind of thing?
I feel like, I think it's because obviously
kind of a two-part question.
Yeah. So we grew up in an era where we had specialists, strikers, midfielders, defenders, goalkeepers. We're now growing up in an era where your goalkeeper needs to know how to pass the ball properly and fill in as a centre back. Your midfielders need to be able to fill in as a defender and play different positions, maybe in the 10, the 8, the 6. Your wingers need to play inverted, but also cover as a wing back. Your striker now needs to drop in as a midfielder and play as a 10. And I feel like that's stemming from even the academy level. I have a mad take on that one, but I'll probably say it near the end of the show. But yeah, every kid now is getting trained and coached in the exact same way. So we're never going to have those specialists that we were looking for. Shevchenko was a player he is because he was just a natural gifted striker in it. Now we got naturally gifted strikers. They were like, no, you ain't scoring enough goals, so you're going to play as a midfielder because your passing range is good. And I feel like we've gone too far with these stats things as well, man. I feel like people spend less time watching the game and more time tweeting, which annoys the hell out of me, because I am one of those content creators that will call you out for it. And you can't then argue a case with me when my phone goes off and
Enzo will call you out, by the way, people.
I promise you, bro, my phone goes off and you've tweeted 6 times during the game. But then you're going to come on the call-in and then argue with me about a point. And I'm like, I'm watching the game, but you've tweeted 6 times. And I don't know anyone that can type and look at another object while typing. I don't know anyone that can stare at the TV and type away on their phone. Unless you're doing the voice thing, I don't know, bro. But I know you're not doing that. So I feel like we've gone the opposite way with the stats. The stats no longer, in my opinion, is there to help the players. apart from obviously the clubs, they do that because obviously they need to look for the right players and stuff. But as fans or your pundits or your content creators, I feel like we use stats in the opposite way. We try and bash the players with it instead of using it in a productive way. Say, for instance, we're having a conversation. You can go, do you know what, G, or do you know what, Ends, or do you know what? If I look at his stats and you know what, he scored in this many games and he scored in this vital game and he scored in that vital game there. Now we'll be like, well, he hasn't scored in 16 or he hasn't scored in 8 games. Why is he in the team? But there's other sides of the game, bro. It's not just about scoring the goals as well, man. There's other sides. We know now in the football, you have to cover ground, bro. You have to run. You have to defend as well. You have to fill in areas. You have to hold the ball up. You have to link play in certain areas. You have to run to occupy different spaces. It's not just about putting the ball in the back of the net. And I get it because that's the whole point of the game of football. Score more goals, you win the game of football. But it's so much like chess now. Everyone's, doing different things, man, to try and get their best. You brought up earlier, you guys said about the throwing coaches just to try and get the little edge. And the long may this continue, bro. All we're going to do is talk about stats. If you notice, no one talks about the game properly no more. Everyone talks about the stats, the GA, XGs. You can't talk about expected, bro. I can expect anything, bro. It doesn't mean it's going to happen. Like when they said the other day, Liverpool had the highest XG or of goals to score in a game. I'm like, yeah, so?
Yeah,
that's the useless stats that Els was talking about earlier on.
Arsenal have the best defensive XG in the league, but we have the best defense.
So tell me, how does that make sense then? So someone will argue with you now, Ram, on the show, and you go, well, we've got the best defensive XG. But bro, our defensive conceded the less goals, but like, what are we talking about here? We've seen factual evidence that we've conceded less, and you're telling me about what someone expects you guys to do.
So no, but the end of the argument
this is what happened,
better defenders. We got better defenders.
It's not even that. It's one thing that Enz has actually always said, and I might laugh about it when we're doing shows and stuff together, but he's actually speaking facts. Who are the people who like are the judges of these stats in itself? Like, what are their own metrics by that? Because from what I've seen, for example, let's say FotMob and SofaScore, we'll just use those two as an example, right? If you go on both of those things, if in fact, I think I was even just looking at it, just pick any game, pick the Egypt versus Ghana game. They've both got different scores and ratings for the players. So let's say Salah, just as an example, I don't know, let's say Salah got a 4 in one of the ratings because obviously he came off injured and blah, blah, blah. But in SofaScore, he might get a 5. Surely, if you're all using the same metrics, it should just be the same scores. But for some reason, they're all using they're all using different ones. So now we're getting different scores. So, and again, I've done this before. Sometimes then you'll look at a rating. Okay, Salah got a 4. Salah was shit. Let's just say he didn't get injured and he just got a 4 today because he didn't play well against Ghana, right? Oh, he got a 4. But they didn't read any of the stats. I don't know. Maybe his pass completion was 95%. Maybe he had 4 shots on goal, but just missed. The keeper just had a blinder of a game, blah, blah, blah. But they just gave him a 4 for whatever reason. But then in the other one, they've given him, I don't know, maybe a 6 for those exact same things. For those exact same things I just said. He had the 4 shots on goal. He was instrumental in all these different things. That's what baffles me about the stats. That's why I say with stats, you use it for your own argument. Whatever argument you're trying to make, that's why you'll use it. But you are right, 12, and you are right, Ends. Managers and the teams and football clubs, they're not looking at SofaScore. They're not trying to check SofaScore to see what's going on with Andre in Fluminense to see if he's been playing well the last 5 games. They've obviously got their own database, but just us as fans, we're not privy to that kind of level of data anyway. So we're only going off of whatever we've got here: the FotMobs, the SofaScores, the Optas, the Stalkers, and stuff like that. And then we're trying to judge and win the argument. Saliba is the best centre back. No, I think it's Kanate. No, I think it's Van Dijk's better than all of them. But then Ruben Diaz does this, and then Nunes is better than this strike. Like, it's just to win the argument, and then we'll use the stats to back it. So it's difficult sometimes.
And that's the issue with, I would say, with today's football fans. They almost use these stats as a basis for their argument. Where I've personally for myself, I think, Enz, we've talked about this before, and I think you've agreed with it. Stats is only there to reaffirm your original point. So I say Trent gave away the ball. He was so wasteful in possession. But the stats say he has an 88 to 90% pass accuracy. So my eye test was wrong because the stats say that wasn't true. And then I would say Alisson was amazing today. Like, he only had to make 3 incredible saves and important saves. And the stats say, well, his punching was great. His distribution was great. Like, it reaffirms and gives you different ways of how you saw the game. That's how I see it. You have to have a opinion. If you're going to talk about opinion of a certain player within a game, you would have to have an original point to the opinion. And the stats are there just as evidence to prove that point, to back up what you're saying. To say someone was great in terms of creating chances. They created 5 chances today. That's where you're like, cool, stats are good. And if you want a certain player to do something, so when we spoke about the DM the last summer, I kept saying Yusuf Fofana. Why was I saying that? Because the stats say he's good defensively, he carries the ball, he's not the best passer, but the only way you could get the best out of him is if you put Trent next to him when he inverts. That's the basis of why I said Fofana would be a great player, because of using those stats to say, okay, I've seen the player play. He's a very good defender, can't really pass the ball. That's where you bring Trent into the mix. So that's where you use stats in your argument. If you get what I mean.
No, and I think even obviously because it's the Tariq has gone now, so it's all Liverpool fans. I think even one of the things that I've also looked at is this whole DM thing that we've been going back and forth with since the summer holidays. So obviously we've got Endo. Yeah, it took a bit of time, was a little bit meaty, and then obviously now he looks pretty decent in that position. We've had McAllister there. I think he's been a bit meaty as well. Had some flashes of brilliance, blah blah blah. But people seem to be set on Endo being that DM for Liverpool when he comes back, from international duty. One of the other players that people were talking about was the Andre Palhinha, Decore. Can't remember if there was another one, but those are the 3 names I remember. That those are the ones constantly being thrown out during the summer, and obviously as the season has kind of gone on. We then start using, Liverpool fans in general, we start using different stats to then big up each one for the one position. It's not like we're trying to find 3 different positions and we're saying, okay, Andre can do this in left wing. He can, Palhinha is the right wing. He can do that. And Decore is a centre back. So we need him to, we're one position, but we seem to be using so many different metrics for each player to then fit our argument to then say, no, he's the one that we need to sign in January. Everyone was like, not everyone here on the panel, people I saw on social media were dead set on Andre. The way we were dead set on this guy was crazy. Absolutely dead set on this guy. Now that we then heard one rumor he might be going to Fulham, he's not even that good anyway. He's kind of short, kind of thing. His part. But this is what I'm saying is that what happened to all those stats? Where's all these amazing stats that were being thrown around, which we all saw that were being thrown around to make the. I'm not saying these stats were fake because they're stats that are obviously there and they're there to be used in whatever way that you kind of want to use them. But where are all these stats now? All of a sudden, it's like, no, he's kind of dead. Palhinha, the same thing. No, he can't play football. For some reason, for a Premier League footballer who has played in the Premier League and played for Sporting Lisbon, apparently now he can't kick ball. But he can only tackle. Okay, so he's gone through his whole career and all he can do is tackle. Like, these are the things to fit the argument of whatever it is you're trying to gain out of this discussion. Sorry, Ed.
Do you know what I feel like the only question you should really ask when it comes to stats is if someone goes, what does the player actually do for you? If you can't explain it from the eye test section, you can then go, okay, let me look at his stats. Well, he offers us goals, he gets us assists, he's great at passing, he does this, etc. That's the only time I feel like the stats thing should come into play. What does the player do for you? What does he do for your football club? All right, let's break it down. Let's find out what he actually does. But we don't do that, bro. It's weird, and you're right. You go on every different stats place, and they always give you different ratings, which makes no sense. I'm telling everyone, if you sit down and watch the game properly and spend less time tweeting, spend less time talking, just watch the game, observe what every player is doing, you have a greater understanding of the football game that we love. But too many of you guys are sitting there tweeting, and I don't know. I honestly don't know because you jump on because we do the call in show me and Savage. People jump on there and just randomly say some crazy shit, bro. I'm like, I just sat here and watched the game, bro. Like, what did you? Then I realized because obviously I've got social media as well. I realized the narrative's getting spewed on the commentary. They'll be like, "Oh, here he goes again. He's missed another chance. Oh, his pass completion hasn't been great this season." So I know someone's going to be in the comments or someone's going to be, one of the content creators, one of the pundits, whoever will be like, well, this player doesn't have a great passing complete. You didn't know that until my man brought it up, bro. Privy to that, you were watching the game going, do you know what? His passing range is quite well. He's very good at what he does. All of a sudden, this one stat now has skewed everything that you've seen with your own two eyes. And now you're basing it off of what someone else said, even though you've watched the last 10 games. That blows my mind all the time when I watch games.
Just to add ends, and this is probably going to be a final point for myself. The only way I accept people using stats for a basis of an argument is if they're looking for the right player that they want to sign. As in, like, you go for transfers, I guarantee you, even though people say it, they do not tune in to watch every single game in Europe's top 5 leagues.
Nope.
Who
has time to sit there and watch every game?
I can barely watch Liverpool and Stuttgart at the same time, let alone watch Europe's top 5 leagues. Like, no person can do that. But we use stats because we have a certain metric of the players that we want to see. We think the club needs. So when when G asked me about DM, I kept saying, well, personally for me, I would want someone that's a good passer, who can tackle well. Obviously, mental side of things, a leader and all that kind of stuff. And I say, well, G, can you check the stats for Zubimendi, please? Because I know from what I've seen, he's a decent passer. He's a very good tackler. He's played at centre back at times. His positioning is very good, and he's good at winning the ball in the air. That's where G's like, okay, boy, okay, I got you. Passing accuracy 85% is okay. Tackling wise, he intercepts very well, about 4 a game. And then his tackling is not that great. He gets into a lot of defensive duels, but wins only about 20% of them. That's where stats is good. That's where stats tells you what a player is all about. But when it comes to judging a player on the game, leave it out. Leave it out. Come on, man. What are we doing? We're better than that.
Anyway, I gotta jump out, but real quick, T. If you want to start out the game, take betting out of the game because that's where it all derived from.
That's actually a shout. I can't lie. That is definitely because these fouls. Who can get fouled and who's getting a card. I know there's a Twitter account. One of my boys was showing me that he'll give you all the stats on, say, Egypt versus Ghana. He'll then tell you, okay, well, in the last 5 games of Egypt, such and such has fouled 10 times in that time. So all of these stats kind of thing, now your eyes are going to be looking for these fouls, and that might then skew your own judgment on this player, of course, at a later date. But now that is actually a big point now. I'm going to go to Big Up Kwasi. Thank you very much for obviously joining this evening. Going to go through some questions before we, of course, head out. Guys, if you haven't done so already, please make sure you are smashing that like button. It does help the channel. Big up Honesty again. Bro, you're spending some good money today, man. I appreciate that big time. He's got a question here. Salah got a hamstring injury. The seriousness is unknown at the moment. If it was up to you guys, do you buy an attacker now in Jan or risk it? Just a one-word answer. I'll start with you, Els.
No, because whoever we buy, it's not going to be as good as Salah, so
I feel
it doesn't matter.
Bro, we just need the players back, man. We got solutions. I'm Klopp, bro. We got solutions in the squad. We'll find a way.
I feel you. Ram?
Unmute yourself.
Sorry, guys. Yeah, I would say I wouldn't say get an attacker in, but get a player in, because I still think we need numbers in this team, because sooner or later these players will be dropping like flies.
Okay, I'm gonna change. I'm gonna add something to that just before 12. You jump with your answer. Salah's out for 2 months. Would you then buy a player?
Whoa, bro! Listen, don't even throw that in the
Whoa,
universe.
whoa. Hey, G, Salah, that's your that's the guy you back,
yeah, that's
bro.
my
What you
guy.
doing?
Yeah, that's my
You ain't
that's my,
answering.
because
I'm
he's
choosing
my
not
guy.
to answer that question.
I
How about
If
prefer
he was
not
in
to-
court, yeah. If he was in
Nah,
court,
nah.
that look a bit fishy. But yeah, God.
Hypotheticals, bro.
I don't
Sorry,
believe
bro.
in that shit, bro. So
No.
nah, 2 months, nah, bro. Relax, man. Just say he's got slight strain, a nice week's
Yeah,
rest.
we don't know, but we don't know. We actually don't know. It could be
Yeah.
he might come back in the next game for Egypt and just be super calm.
Let's
we,
hope
we
he
might not
comes
even.
This
back
is
in.
why people call you negative, G.
Jesus Christ, bro. I was just asking you a question, but fair enough. Whatever. So, sorry, no. 12. Go on. I'll let you answer the question.
Do we need a player? Is that what the question is, or do we? Or what?
No, so it's saying Salah got a hamstring injury. We don't know the seriousness of it. Would you buy an attacker in Jan, or would you just risk it and just wait for him to come back?
No, I mean, look, I'm not a sports, I'm not a medical guy, so I don't know how bad the hamstring is. So, but even if it was the case, I want to go out and get a right winger anyway, because there will be a day that we will not have Mo Salah on this team. Despite the fact that I get called many different names, I am a realist and understand that time changes, players change as well. So yeah, there will have to be a replacement eventually for that role. And considering that Doak is injured, and considering we don't have a necessary natural right winger, Kai Gordon possibly, but he's working his way back. If we could get someone, I've been out there saying I want to get Kubo, for instance, and I pay his release clause. So
12 man on Gordon, he's on eggshells himself. He's not ready. He's not ready to be put back into the firing line. So
I mean, he's enough that he's showing up on team sheets. So
yeah, but I think he might break down again, and then we're back to square one. That's what I mean by it. He's on eggshells, I think.
And people call you negative too, Ram, huh?
Bro, I feel like I get a lot of stick for the things I say, and some of the stuff you people are saying are kind of wild. Like, big up, Mikem. How big an impact and importance would you guys rate our Brazilian goalie trainer, Taffarel? He obviously is one of the best goalies. He was one of the best goalies in the world himself. So yeah, how big of an influence do you think he's had?
Has he made Alisson any better though? Because Alisson's just been cold.
No.
That's what I thought. I don't feel like he's made him better. Like I feel like Alisson was always going to be
mentality-wise.
We do have a Brazilian youth player though, so that's
maybe
being able to communicate.
Being able to like Macclesfield and come back and done nothing. I don't know.
I'm just saying, being able to.
But I think
it's a minute thing, bro. I think it's just a minute thing that we don't get to, because none of us are goalkeepers like that. To the little minute details. Maybe from a positional standpoint, you just a centimeter here or do this. I don't know, but Alisson's been great before he was there, bro. So I don't even I haven't seen any difference. Alisson's just been mad consistent, and I'm not saying your coach doesn't help. Of course it does.
Didn't Taffarel join when Alisson first came? One place say first
I don't
came.
think it was when he first came. He was
a couple of months when he came, because Alisson recommended him to come.
We'd have to check the timeline, but I don't think it was.
No, I think it was a couple of years. Yeah. But they're really good friends, so
right.
No,
I guess that's always a plus point.
Look, connections in the world matter. As in, I've been stressing about the fact of players talk just as much as fans and everyone else talks. Players talk as well, and coaches talk as well, and they have influences on players' decisions when it comes to what's the best fit or what's going to be the best place for me to go. And I was just trying to say that I think that having a Brazilian coach helps when you have obviously the starting goalkeeper. That's one thing, but the youth player that we have on our team being from Brazil matters. I mean, he's able to speak in his native tongue, and he's able to maybe even help them learn English. I don't know. And then also it even goes even further in that maybe that influence goes further back to his connections back in Brazil. Maybe there's other players back in Brazil that connect with that.
If there's one thing, is mentality. I would say is a big thing, and probably even though these players that we have are like.
So what? Klopp's just standing there looking pretty.
No. G. Let me finish, bro. Let me finish. But we talk about Klopp and we talk about obviously Linders and everything like that, but they've never been in that situation where they've been the best player in the world and they've in their position and they've won the big trophies. Like Tafarel for Brazil was the guy. Like I think he's only one of 3 players to win the World Cup for his country, I think, in Brazil. So that is a big thing.
Yeah.
And for someone to be of that stature, and obviously he played in Europe for quite a bit of time and was one of the best goalkeepers in the world, that sort of like understanding what it's like to have that pressure on you from a ex-player. And don't forget, Tafarel's Alisson's idol as well, growing up. That was his idol. I think he said it in his interviews, like the player that I grew up watching was Tafarel. And to have him as his coach, like mentoring him all the way, bro, it's like for me, Stevie coaching me if I'm at Liverpool, or if it was Iniesta coaching you, like you would be starstruck and you would want to run through brick walls for those players.
Curtis Jones speaks about. I brought this up before, but Curtis Jones talks about being coached by Stevie G and the influence that he had on him. So I mean, being coached by your idols, being coached by living legends makes a difference, especially when you're at that stage of your life where you can be somewhat molded.
How much of a difference? Because by that logic, Thierry Henry should be one of the best managers in the world.
Oh, but this is where it comes. This is where it comes back to play. The one thing that Thierry Henry, I think someone spoke about this. The one thing is, it's a very fine line between being a great player and becoming a great coach. That's why you see a lot of the meaty players become great coaches, because a lot of the time the great players expect players to be of their level. So Thierry Henry, one of the big things he had was a big problem for him was he expected a lot of his players from Monaco to be at his level, but they're just not. And the one thing that the likes of, and also Frank Lampard as well, the one thing the likes of, Xabi Alonso, Didier Deschamps is a perfect example because he was never the best player, but he was a hard-working player and knew what it was like to get the best out of the better players. And that's why he's gone to back-to-back World Cup finals. That's why you see Ancelotti. Ancelotti was an incredible player, but he wasn't a standout player. But he knows what it's like to get the best out of the best players, but also make a functioning team so that the so-called lesser players are just as important.
Is there a banging player that we've seen? Okay, Zidane. Outside of Zidane, is there a banging player that we've seen? Become a top manager?
With the Zidane thing, bro.
Kenny.
I don't know, man. Zidane, I'm not gonna disrespect him because he's a cold player.
I think
the man had a cold team, bro.
I think the only player
King Kenny did
maybe
Zidane.
Maybe Del Bosque. Because he was a good player for Madrid. I think he won a European Cup with them as well.
Yeah, Spain. Come on, man. That Spain team was like...
Bro,
but look what he did with Madrid. That Madrid team.
What Madrid?
I almost feel like with Madrid, it's always difficult to really judge them.
Now, tell me what Madrid team, because Madrid has never had a shit team. So which Madrid team are you talking about?
Was it 98 or 99?
They've never had a shit team, bro. These men have always had a good team. That's what they call Galacticos.
But they never had superstar in every position.
What, Raul Morientes and them, man? What Guti?
Real Madrid philosophy is to buy the best young players around on the planet. If you told me Barcelona did that, I'd be like, okay, because that's what they do. They do the academy thing. Everyone comes through La Masa, bro. But Real Madrid, they bring through players, but they buy the players as well, man. That's why they call the Galacticos for a reason, bro. They don't. But I don't know. But this is before. But manager-wise, yeah, it was all right, man. He had some cold player called Benzema and some other dunnies just scoring goals. And you know what I mean,
I think only player I can think of is Beckenbauer because he managed Bayern Munich, got them to European final, and obviously won the World Cup.
Okay, in this era, since the 90s, let's just say. Then name I couldn't really think of one. Maybe if you want to throw it down, Beckenbauer. I didn't see Beckenbauer, so I'm not going to speak on him. I know he was a great player, rest in peace and that. But
Yo, where's K-Man?
I never saw. Yeah, well, this is it. Yeah, I mean. Anyways, next question. That's actually a good question. Big up, Masood. Big question drop. Drop the stats with only your eyes. Question to all of you. Which midfielder is better? Paulinho, Douglas Luiz, or Guimaraes? He spelled it wrong. Guimaraes from Newcastle.
Douglas Luiz.
Douglas.
Technical footballer is Douglas Luiz.
Agreed.
You agree with that as well?
Man, he needs to calm down, bro. This man just
he seems like he's taking drugs or something. I know he's kind of angry.
Calm down, bro. Why? Just spare yellow cards. I couldn't have him in my team. He would have me on edge all the time, bro.
He's just like a walking red card waiting to happen.
Yeah, bro, for no reason as well. There's games where they're controlling the game and he just wants to break someone in half, bro, for no reason. Just relax.
Bruno, man, he's got a little bit of a little man syndrome kind of thing. You know what I mean? Because he's like smaller than everyone else. They just want to start breaking other players' legs. Like, bro, come on.
I would love to see Paulina in a more progressive team to see how good he is.
Bayern.
That would have been the perfect move. But I would love to see him because at the moment he's playing in a team that the expectation ain't that high, so you're always going to look good
and organized.
In terms of you just stand there and you do the simple things well. But Douglas, man, this man is all over the place, bro. He's just on it, man.
Don't we? And by the way, I rate all three of these players, by the way. But don't we kind of like that in play? I thought people wanted players like that who can do the simple things just well. Like we can't all have like you know what I mean?
Maybe it's the way people speak about him. Then G, maybe I'm.
I hear you. Yeah. No, I hear
they just say he's the greatest thing since sliced bread, and I'm like,
I hear you.
Bro, he makes some tackles and that he runs around. He looks busy. I've also seen him get cooked up in the midfield as well. Are we not going to see when McAllister nearly made man break his collarbone?
The way he got bodied, I was like, bro, what the hell?
So that's the DM you want, but you don't rate this DM. All right, say less, bro.
Me or just in general?
No, it's in general, bro. The man them ones, okay. Don't rate McAllister. Respect McAllister, man.
I would respect.
Anyways, big up honesty for another question.
He's got the best girlfriend. Certainly, best girlfriend.
I thought he broke up with her.
Oh, he broke up with her. Oh, well. Better than.
Why do you not even know that? Anyways, I didn't even know he had a girlfriend, let alone that he had one and broke up with her.
This is what I'm saying. The man them are spending too much time on Twitter, bro, not watching the game.
That's what I'm saying. You don't need to get off there. Go touch some grass.
No, don't blame Twitter.
Ram, go and touch some grass. Go touch some grass.
Robs, blame. No, not Robs.
That's Instagram.
Blame the damn group chat. Get that stupidness from there. You lot just
big up,
wild.
Big up, honesty. 3 players that get you excited in the Premier League. Els. Sorry, you're first on my thing.
I'm gonna try not pick Liverpool players.
Yeah, you cannot pick no Liverpool player in this.
I like Udogie at Tottenham.
He's a good little left back.
He wears Speedos.
What has that even got to do with anything?
It means he dives. He dives. He dives a lot. That's all.
Yeah, he actually does, to be fair. But I like him, though.
God, this is tough. I'm gonna go Olise. 2.
My guy.
I'm just worried about his injury prone.
Yeah, he's starting to get injured quite a bit now.
3rd player. Do you know what? Brighton have a few. And his name has escaped me. He's injured.
The striker?
No, he's injured. Scored a banging goal.
Ferguson?
What's his name?
Ferguson?
No, it's the
Mm-mm.
Nah,
young.
he's a
Are
striker.
you talking about the young
He's not
Argentinian or the South
Yes,
American one?
Oh,
yes.
what is it? Bonanette.
Oh, Bonanate or whatever it is.
No, man.
Oh my days, they're
Enciso.
flipping South.
Thank
Enciso.
you,
Yes,
sir.
Enciso.
yes,
Paraguay,
yes.
Paraguay.
Yes, him.
Yeah.
And Ciso.
Okay.
That's
Ends. 3 players.
You
Thank
saying
you,
you
Jack,
can't
by
use
the way.
Liverpool players, man?
I know, man. That makes it very difficult.
Do you know
Well,
what?
it shows me that you're watching football, outside of Liverpool,
Do
guys.
you know why, man?
I know you are.
The other meaty guys are about in the Prem, man. But Elise is one of them. When he's fit and he's on it, bro, he's one of the most difficult wingers to play against.
Facts.
Let's go Pedro. Brighton.
That's what I thought you were talking about.
Yeah, nah, he's cold, bro.
He's cold.
He's a cold player. Third one. None of the other ones make me get off my seat. Neto's good, but I don't really.
Neto used to, but
Yeah, used to. Do you know what?
That's mad that we're struggling to find
No,
players.
I'm gonna use the
quality.
Liverpool player, man. Diaz when he first came.
Nah, it's got to be a player now, bro. None of this first game stuff, like.
Bro, he had me off my seat, bro. Man,
Yeah, 2 years ago. We're in 2024 now. And
nah, but this
it literally this time 2 years ago. Is it 2 years? 2 years ago.
It's to do with your show, man. You was asking the question, bro, and that's the reason. When he
And-
came, it was cool, man.
And
Now,
you know what we have about the
These
Anfield
caveats.
problem? I thought he could have solved that. Just having him
He
on the
can-
pitch,
he
just
can, but
electrifying the
take him off the
crowd.
leash, man. Take him off the leash.
Yeah.
He's good. Okay. Apart from him, then
There's got to be at least one more player.
I'll probably say Kulu from Tottenham.
Oh, good choice. I like
He's
it.
he's
Good
a very,
right
you know, he's crazy because there's nothing special to him, but he's special.
Yeah. He doesn't
bro.
wow you, but he's a good player. Though.
When he's just dropping players on there, bro, there's some skills that he does, and he just drops you out, man. Yeah.
Nah, City players are not off the list, page. Pick whoever you want. It's not my list.
Paqueta's alright, but
he doesn't get on my seat like that. He's just a good player.
excited over him. Yeah, man. Just relax.
When he
man.
said
You're right.
Kulu, when you say Kulu, I actually immediately thought of West Ham.
Yeah, I thought Kudus. That's what I thought.
I thought Kudus, but
forgot about
Paquetá.
him. Would have picked him.
Yeah,
Paquetá.
he's my pick anyway.
I love Paquetá as a baller, man. He's just so good, so silky, so happy Man City didn't get him. I'm so
They
happy
will,
they didn't get him.
You know they will.
They will, and
You
it'll
know,
be game over.
Once his
He'll
betting
get-
thing is done and dusted, like once that gets cleared and that, he'll be there.
I will still say Pedro Neto as an even, like, when I saw him, I think it was against like West Ham where he was about to shape up to shoot and he just pulled his hamstring. I was like, for a long time, I've never felt my heart sink when I saw someone pull up like that. I was like, oh no, not again. And he's a good player, man. It's a shame about the injuries, but he's still, whenever he's on the pitch, he's exciting, wants to take on players and everything like that. And third player, I'm gonna go Palace. It was between Elise and another player, but I'm gonna pick the other player. I'm gonna go for Eze. I really like Eze.
I like Eze.
I remember G gave me so much stick because I wondered why he wasn't gonna be playing for England. But yeah, he's
a Palace fan anyway, bro. So it's like...
That's what I'm saying, man. Come on, I'm saying homegrown in that. And 12.
I would say Son from Tottenham. I've always liked his play. I've always thought people call him a purple patch player, but I think he's an exceptional player in my opinion. Player I get excited when I see Onana.
Amadou or Andre?
No, the goalkeeper. Yeah.
Oh, Andre Onana.
Yeah. For certain.
Interesting.
Yeah, because it probably means that there's a higher likelihood that the Red Devils are going to lose.
Oh,
and
I was going to be.
You know what? I rate the shamelessness. I rate it.
And probably maybe Ruben Neves. I like his play a lot too.
He's not in the Premier League, is he?
Yeah, he's
Not
gone.
anymore.
Oh, he's gone now.
Yeah, he's gone. Yeah,
Not anymore.
you ain't watching football.
My bad. Neto, maybe then. Stay with the Wolves.
Yes, I think he's a good player. I would go with Doku, Kudus, and Alicia.
So you only
Nah,
like the
Lisa.
fast man, then, bro.
I didn't hear
you
a
pick
criteria.
Every player in your own mode, bro. It's fine. I'll just.
Was there a criteria to this? Like, did he say they
Nah,
can only be a
wasn't.
certain type of player? Like, I picked the players that I like seeing. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are
Nah,
wingers who are very good. So I picked them.
Do you know that the take? I don't know if when you're wrapping up, but you know the take. I want to do a show on it, but I need.
Oh yeah, go on. Yeah.
I want to do the research on it before we do it. Before I put it together. I think all academy sports are modern day slavery, bro.
Oh, that needs a
But
lot.
I want
of
to do the
research.
I want to do the research on it because I feel like there needs to be enough of a research done, and then I can talk about it properly. Because you look at the sport, man. I would love to know the difference between and roughly know the number of how many people make it through and get to the career they want, but the ones that fall away, what happens to them?
Oh, it's like 5%. It's like 5 to 10%. I think.
Very low, yeah.
Didn't they do a show? When that show? I think they were talking about Crystal Palace, brother.
Yeah,
I feel like there was a show about.
I think it was like a BBC documentary or something like that. But if you switch the narrative, it does get a bit spooky.
I wanted. That's why I said it's one of those ones. It's not something we can just randomly speak about.
Exactly.
That's got to be going away
and to be done, and then we can talk about it properly because there's way too many players falling off, and there's certain things that keep happening with them as well, man, which is crazy. And it puts a lot of pressure on like the families and stuff, pushing their kids to do certain things, selling them out for certain things. We know, bro. We know how it runs, man. But I think it would be an interesting conversation, man.
No. I definitely agree. Guys, make sure, as always, man, keep your notification bells on. Yes or no? Benzema on a 6-month loan.
Why not? You guys don't rate Nunes anyway. Game.
He's not passing the character test. When we look into his history, he's not passing. He's not
his history is a bit. Clean guys, like he's not squeaky clean at all.
Yo, we've got a clean, like we've got everyone that's nice guys.
Hey,
like Diaz is like the only one, and that's only been recently that his family's been getting into 1-2 madness. Like,
bring the black man in there, bro. Bring him in. Let us run it. Let's run it. It's only 6 months.
Who's the player? Who's the other player?
His teammates.
Short guy. No, but there was another player that they.
Valbuena.
Valbuena. That's it. Yeah, him. I was trying to remember who the other player was. 12th. We decided on a 6-month loan.
I just said short guy Ribery.
Oh, me? No, I'm good.
No, I feel you.
Hey, listen, Salah's injured, man. I thought we needed another world-class Donny in there, bro.
But I'd rather get a right winger if we're going to get.
I said,
move Diaz to the right, and then you've got Benzema through the middle.
No, I want Kangi.
Yo, this Diaz to the right thing that you're trying to.
Kangi Lee in France, or I'd go with Nakamura. He's in France. A lot of the players I like are like Japanese or Korean, but Kubo. Those are all 3 names I would love to see as a.
I would like to see Kubo more. You know, I feel like he's a good little player, but I don't feel he's a next level player. But I want to see him more though.
He's just
ever had 2 Asian players at the same time.
Bro, when was the last time he had an Asian player? Minamino.
Yeah. Last time we had an Asian player was Endo, but I mean.
Oh yeah, of course, Endo.
When are we ever had 2 at the same time?
4 years.
I don't think so. I don't think we have.
No, we don't think we ever had that.
Yeah.
Was Minamino the first Asian player that were like, Asian player?
In a minute, I can.
It's been a long time.
Go back through the team, bro. Probably not. Probably.
I feel like he is the first one. I can't remember Liverpool deciding.
Like there was someone probably there, bro, that we didn't rate or didn't get to see, man. I feel like there was
he's
someone.
the first Japanese player.
Okay, first Champions League. Well, yeah, okay, fair enough then. Fair enough. Name 3 players that will get in our first 11 in the Premier League. So just pick any 3 players you think in the Premier League who can get into our first 11, whatever you think that first 11 is.
KDB has to be in there. Kevin De Bruyne.
Yeah. I don't even feel like I have 3.
I gotta save. That's my episode tomorrow is exactly what you're doing. So I'll save my answer for tomorrow.
No worries. Guys, make sure you head on over to 12's channel.
It's interesting. The game is like basically swap one. So basically, we're gonna go from like the bottom of the league. Each team, you get 1 player that you can swap from each team onto your starting 11 if you want them. You can just go up. And it's just. But once he's gone, once that player's gone, he's gone. So, for instance, you'd say like, Holland for Nunez or something. Okay, cool.
Yeah, probably Rodri as well.
Mina was first.
Okay. So Rodri, KDB, who's the third one?
Yeah, Haaland, damn, City. Haaland, yeah.
Ends. I feel like I know what Ends' answer is going to be anyway.
You guys are sellouts, man. I ain't swapping none of my guys, man.
There you go. There you go.
I love my players, bro. You man can sell out your players, bro.
Can love some more players, Ends, man.
People say you're too positive.
Nah, bro, I don't mind being positive, man. Someone has to be, bro. We can't tip the scale too much. You got guys like Ram and G on the other side. You have to have someone like me to make sure the scale is balanced.
Hey, there's me and then there's G. There's like realism and then negativity.
Nah, but then you have the other guys that keep flip-flopping between every show they do. So you have to have people like me, the rest of the man them as well. You guys already know, because and Els as well, man. Els seems like you're one of the good ones as well. So you're on my side. The rest of these negative.
To be honest, yeah, I'm mostly positive. Mostly.
But I did hear your comment about Nunez earlier, but I let it slide.
Nah, it was yeah. He's the only one. He's actually like, yeah.
I saw him live. Honest to God, me and Annie, big up Annie. We just started laughing when we saw him on the pitch. I swear to God.
It's funny.
Let me ask you a question. If there wasn't this crazy outrage and stats around him missing and stuff like that, would you still feel the same way, or do you feel like you'll give him a blight?
No. I don't even need the stats. Like, I literally go into the games, him going 1-on-1, and I expect him not to score. Do you know what he's done to me mentally? To me, like, nah. I can just.
You know what's mad about that? Man don't need to see stats when I'm seeing Donny hit the post.
Yeah.
After rounding the keeper, like I don't need to see a stat to know that.
That was the one. That was the one when he rounded the keeper and didn't score.
Do you think it becomes more? He just needs to work on. He's too excited, isn't he? He just needs to calm down.
Why are you excited, bro? Just score the goal. Just score the fucking goal, man.
Get excited when you do score that goal.
Nah, but when you're playing for one of the greatest clubs to ever, play the beautiful game, and you get an opportunity to come and play for us, put on the shirt, let alone throw on the number 9 shirt.
But it's been a year.
So you're saying basically what ends is actually implying without or insinuating is that he can't actually hold the weight of the shirt. That's what you're saying. He's not really ready for Liverpool, and that's fine. Ends. That's all you have to say.
Bro,
you don't need to.
Listen, you only have to get it right once, bro. Once you get it right once, bro.
I hear.
That's all you have to do. It's just about the patience, man. We live in a world now where no one has patience.
No one has patience.
We're top of the table, and you guys still want this man to be on like 20 goals.
Yeah.
For what reason, bro? We'd still be in the
Ends got a point. On some real, on some 100. If we were as reactionary as a lot of the fans are online and in our social circles, then Curtis Jones would have been gone. Hot Diego would have been gone.
That's the truth for Curtis Jones.
Gerrard would have been gone, by the way. As well.
Hold on. Sorry, I'm just before you even continue, like if you go down that road of this player would have been gone, and
Well,
like,
just the point of like as
Well,
in,
we would have had better players who come in. Like,
there's
over
no
history,
there's
bro.
no guarantee you would
Give
have
people
better
time.
player. That's
but then there was no guarantee that this player was going to be of any good level. Like, there's no guarantee of
I
anything.
guess
So
the guarantee
it
is that
doesn't.
they are.
When
That's the guarantee.
Javi Alonso joined us, did you guys rate him when he first joined? Because he wasn't that good, and then it
He
was
wasn't.
I think his second season.
Did you rate
maybe
Fabinho?
that
Did you rate Fabinho? Did you rate Fabinho during
Oh,
the era when Fabinho got to the team? He was not.
You know, these guys didn't take. You know, Curtis Jones been here for 4 years, brother. Like,
Shabby,
we're not talking about people who took. Like, we're talking about people who took what Javi Alonso. You could say, let's say after the first season, then maybe cool. Fabinho inside the same season, he was still like he turned into the player. We're talking about probably been here for 4 years.
No,
That's,
G,
nah,
G,
that don't even make sense.
You're
That doesn't even make
missing
sense.
a big point. You're missing a big point. Xabi Alonso gained a reputation of being one of the best.
Well, Sociedad, like, let's not act like he was just a nobody.
That's even more testament then.
I don't care what man did at Real Sociedad, bro. I care about when he joined Liverpool Football Club. In his first year, you telling me he was great?
No, he was not great.
Or did he have moments? Did he have moments then?
So has Nunes. What are we doing, bro?
But he also had
hold on.
as well.
Why do I don't need a player to be great. No, not every single player you sign is going to be great. I don't need them to be
give
great.
Player time instead of just being reactionary and then maybe
I think 18, 19 months is a long time to judge someone.
When should we have patience until? When is it too much time?
Okay, when is there too much?
Yeah. Let me hear. When's your cutoff date? When did the electricity die on this thing?
Just before you go in,
yeah.
All I need, I pray to God, just don't miss from 2 yards. Just please
forget even all of that. I want to know.
Yeah.
I want to know what is your threshold.
It's coming up to 2 years. It's coming up to 2
and
years.
Like, nah, one more season and we what 3? So you give him about 3 years to be good.
No. Do you know what it is? The man them in the chat now. You man are gonna tell me that Javi was great when he first come. Okay.
No. I'm not. Well, I'm not saying.
No. But they're saying it in the chat. This is the
no. He wasn't.
When you try and compare,
this
is what happened. They will say he was decent. No, he wasn't, man.
No, he wasn't. No. I agree. He wasn't.
However, he started locking down midfield. His passing range improved. Because remember, his passing range when he first came, he weren't hitting those passes. It's in his second season he started connecting those passes.
I will say this: the Xabi Alonso that we remember as Liverpool fans, we never got to see him because we saw him at his best.
Yeah,
100% we saw him at his best. Yeah, we definitely saw him at his best.
No, but okay. To Elsa's question, when is it the right? When he's single-handedly costing us game in, game out.
Jesus Christ! You know these caveats that you always have with your answers, bro.
No,
like, why don't you just give a time of how long this is taking?
No, but G,
no, because I knew Enz was going to come with some political answer.
No, but
Enz, I just want you to give me a no. Hold on. I just want you to give me a time frame, bro. I don't want to hear when he costs us a game because that could be in 5 years' time. So if he continues in the same way for 5 years, okay, you know what? Then better then. If he continues exactly how he is right now for the next 4 years, would you? I think how long has he got left?
Does that mean is he going to still be our second top goal scorer in those periods? Because he is now.
Yeah, whatever is right now as of the 18th of January, whatever he is right now. So his ability, everything that he is, if he just stay like this for the next 4 years, you'll be fine with that. Like you will have no problem with that. You'd want him to stay for the duration of his contract.
Okay, my question back to you is: does Liverpool play?
I don't think you just answered the question.
my question back to you is: does Liverpool play with an out-and-out number 9 that we automatically say he has to score the goals, or do we have 5 strikers or 5 players that play in the forward line that we rely upon?
How about this end?
My answer to that is: how about I just want a guy who knows how to score. I don't need you to score bare goals. I just need you to know how to score goals. And at the moment, you're showing me that you know how to score some goals, but the easy goals you can't seem to do. And it's now just getting embarrassing to the point where we're now having to find, as I mentioned before on your stream the other day, I can't judge him anymore as a striker. I just judge him as a player. Do you think
it's more embarrassing for him or you?
Everyone.
It's more embarrassing for him if he continues in this way. Bro.
So you guys need to calm down, bro. It's not you missing the goals, isn't it? It's him.
Yeah, obvious. Okay, if we do that, then fair enough. But ends in these political answers, I'm not even gonna entertain This guy and his
Els, listen, give him till the end of the season.
Okay, fair.
No,
I can do that. I can do that.
But what I need from
Did
you,
you
because I'll
rate,
be paying attention to your tweets going forward.
To be, I
Rate-
actually
I wanna
don't
just see
bash
how
him.
you
I
rate-
don't.
Yeah, no,
I don't.
Els don't really get onto him as much as
I
as she should. Let's put it that way.
Even on the pod when they clipped it up, I was explaining
yeah,
his
I remember
worst
that.
attribute. His worst. I was saying like he's really good at like creating chances, creates chaos. Like there's good things to him. He has an IQ in that he gets into excellent positions, but
He does.
it's the concentration. It's
like someone steals his brain.
Yeah, I mean, how old is he now? Like, you can't even say he's
24,
young.
he's turning 25 before the end of the season.
Relax,
Yeah,
man.
ends-
Let the man
yeah.
just turn
Whoa,
24.
whoa.
Mid-20s.
Nah. Let me check his age.
Let the man just
'cause I
turn
don't think he
24, man.
No.
Trying to add his age as well, man. He's probably got like 8 months, 9 months before. Like that's a lot of time, you know, when it comes to a pro man for you to.
Bro,
turn
he turns 25 in June.
How long is that now? What's that? 5 months?
Okay, we're giving us the end of the season.
Plenty of time
months,
to develop. Plenty of time to develop a new skill set.
No, I'm good. I just wanted to know if you just had like I know you anyway. I know you're not gonna be like, yeah, give him 4 years and he can just keep doing little pissy, yeah, them kind of things. But I just wanted to know if there was like a point where even you would have to turn around and be like, maybe it's not working out.
Do you know what I want to do, guys? I want to take away last season because I feel like he did score quite a few goals, but he came into a team that wasn't great. I feel like we have to judge him on this one, but judge this season as his first season. And it doesn't make sense. I get it because obviously he was here last year. But last season the team was dead, bro, and we relied upon him in certain moments where we had to use him wide for a bit of pace and whatever. There was games when we're like he has to start, and he scored a lot of goals. Was it to our expectations? No. This season's eye class is his first season. Has he improved since last season? Yes. He's more of an all-round striker than a number 9. And I get it, bro. He keeps missing these mad chances. And I get it. We want him to put them away. But there is games, bro, where the keeper is just on it as well. We don't praise the goalkeeper. Gakpo the other day scuffed one off the bottom of his boot, bro. He could have missed it and it went in. I see Nunes put his foot through it, put them in the corners, and the goalkeeper said, no. We want to keep this narrative going. You're not that great, big man. But you allow Gakpo to hit the bottom of his studs and let it roll into the... and don't do nothing. Say, rate this season as his first season, and then next season's where I think you can then be massively critical because now he's in a team where they're creating a lot more chances. I'm not saying they didn't do it last season, but as an overall team, we're better this season than what we were last season. Just give him this season as his first season, and next season, if you want to kill him, kill him. Whatever you want to do.
Exactly. I put in some names. I put some names in the chat of some players. There's some others that I have in my mind too, but I put in some names of some players. Right, and I asked him, like, do you? I didn't put a comma between Suso and Peter, but you know, you might not have rated those players when they played for Liverpool. You might not have. You know, I saw I saw a couple people say that they were cold. Some of the players were good.
Suso I rated highly.
You know, a lot of
Suso rated highly.
Suso I rated.
But that's because we saw him from young.
But I mean, a lot of these players went on to other teams to really become like the players.
Yeah, but I don't care about what you do for another team. I'm talking about what
I'm
you
not
do for
saying that. I'm not saying necessarily that you would care per se, but what I am saying is I do care in the sense of I would have liked to see them do it for Liverpool rather than have to go on to another team because we're so quick to pull the trigger on a player's development.
So we should have kept Aspas. We should have kept Aspas. I mean, he was a goal demon when he was that.
It was enough.
Yeah, that corner was
right player, wrong time. I mean, like you might have different opinions on this. I think these players are good. I thought those players
I think
are
the
good.
only 2 players that I agree with is probably Suso, which again I didn't agree selling Suso. I think that was the bad decision from Brendan Rodgers.
Yeah, I forgot about this.
And Peter Gulashi, but Peter Gulashi is probably one of those players that people forget about, but then they just turn up. And you
Raheem Sterling could be put in that list if you want to, you know, or maybe even Connor Cody.
Did we? We didn't want to sell him, but we got forced.
I don't know. Connor Cody was always dead. I don't think he got that much better. Yeah, I don't. I mean, his level was Everton. I don't think he's that good.
Connor Cody was a midfielder, not a defender when he first started.
Yeah, and he wasn't good at that position, so he ended up moving to the back. But anyways, we'll go. Next question. Question from the panel. Bloody hell. Where would Klopp rank in all-time Premier League managers? For Gagandy and big up yourself, he's battling with Wenger for 4th, 5th. He can't chat to Jose, Pep, or Fergie in his opinion.
If he wins another Prem,
I'm just coming back in literally 2.
Cool. If he wins another Prem, in my opinion, I think he can chat to Jose.
Yeah, I agree.
Because the one thing Jose have that one thing that Klopp has that Jose doesn't have, is that Champions League. Yeah. Champions League holds a lot of weight, and if he gets 2 Prems, Jose's got 3 Prems. Jose's got 2 League Cups, and I think he's got an FA Cup as well. Klopp has got 1 Prem, 1 Champions League, 1 FA Cup, 1 League Cup. If he wins the Prem, that'll be 2. Hopefully, we also win the Europa League as well. That'll be another Europa League.
Yeah,
he gets to be in that conversation of 3rd.
I think
he also did something that Jose couldn't do: rebuild a team.
I would rather judge them if they could all manage at the same time, and then
that's fair.
You can't.
No, do you not? No, but do you know why? Because it's unfair. Fergie was here for time, and he had everything going his way in the Premier League. So it's going to be hard to say Klopp can't be as good as him, or we don't know truly. If Klopp was in the league, could he? With Pep Guardiola, we've only known Pep with big teams where they spend a lot of money, but we know Klopp is the only man to topple him, not only in Germany but in England as well. And then with Jose's I like him really, but as you rightly said, man, if he wins another Premier League, you could probably talk to him. I would love to have seen an era where they all managed though, because I feel like
that would
be well, technically there kind of was an era that they all managed. They just all manage at different stages, but I know what you mean. Yeah.
Like the teams, innit? It's not Mainz Klopp. I'm talking about Liverpool, Man United, the Chelsea with Jose.
Do you know what? I think
Man City. It would be mad. It would be.
I think Klopp would have had the temperament to know what it's like to win a league title, and the mind games he wouldn't affect him, in my opinion, compared to Rafa.
He would be the outlier, bro. He would be the one in the middle going, "Oh, you guys want to do your do? I'll just do what I'm doing."
You just act like a dumbass, honestly.
What we do know is though, with FFP, man, could they compete with Klopp? Nope. But you're saying Mourinho spending their money that he did at Chelsea to build that team, he wouldn't be able to.
GB like, I don't give a shit.
I don't know, boy, because that team here at Porto, boy.
That's the Portuguese. I don't feel like man said you don't rate, man. So let's move on. Next question.
I mean, they won a Champions League.
I mean, they won a Champions League by beating Manchester United along the way. So I don't know. Like,
you man don't rate the teams in that league, bro. So what are we talking about?
I don't rate them now. I rated them back then. What you talk about? What, Dzeko, Ricardo Carvalho, Paulo Ferreira? Yeah. Come on, bro. Like, we're talking about elite level players at that level of time, or at that period of time, with a manager who then came, who we didn't know. I didn't know who Mourinho was. I was like, who's this guy? He seems a bit cheeky. Coming up against literally the best manager in the world. Said, yeah, cool. We're gonna beat you at your place. And then going on to then win the Champions League. I don't know, man.
Was Manish part of that team?
What, Manish?
Let me check.
Because he's either him or it was either Benfica or Porto.
I would love to see them like Klopp with his Liverpool team, Jose with that Chelsea team, Pep with Man City and Fergie, Man United and Wenger Arsenal. Bro, that would be one of the greatest.
Can we add Stevie and Xavi onto that team as well? And a little bit of Fernando Torres as well. Just a little, yeah.
You might have done those
like. No, but then
Manish was.
Then you add like Ronaldo, bro, and then Monday. Yeah, bro. It was a long day, bro.
Okay.
That Ronaldo, that everything he touched went in, and that Rooney. It's long days, bro. But to be fair, then we would have like
long days, bro. Long days.
We would have Mane, Salah, Torres, Gerrard.
Or that Chelsea team. How many goals did they concede? 8 goals in the Prem, or something dumb.
They conceded the least amount of goals I think that's ever been in Premier League.
But Virgil and Daniel Agger, though, I don't know. That might be some partnership.
Yeah, but then
who players want to play left side of centre back? Who's playing right side of centre back? Because I know it's not Daniel Agger. I know it's not him. So Virgil's gonna have to start slotting on that.
Who do you think would win the league though? Based on that question?
Reece. I like Reece. Put Reece on the left side. You talking about left back?
No. Right. Centre back. Right, centre back.
Centre back. Yeah.
I thought you were talking about left back.
Who's your top 4 then, based on that question?
I think the Fergie, Jose, Pep,
Klopp.
I'll probably actually have Klopp ahead of Wenger, even though Wenger has more Premier Leagues than Thing. I just think maybe they're like level. They're like level, but I'll probably just edge towards maybe just Klopp, just because he's been able to forget even the challenging stuff. That's all cute. I don't really care about that, but it's just more in terms of he's been able to come in and win a Premier League and win a Champions League back to back. And then, of course, the cute stuff then with the challenging the Manchester City and blah, blah, blah. He's still got an FA Cup. He's still got a League Cup, Club World Cup, all these other kind of things. Whereas I always felt like that invincible team that I used to like, that we all remember, it's great that you were able to go for a whole season. But you lot were dead in Europe. Like, I can't even understand how you weren't even able to translate any of that. And forget that season. The season before, the season afterwards, like, there wasn't even a period of time. You waited all the way until you had man like Hleb in your team, who was a decent player, to be fair. But you had players like this. No, he was decent. But you had these kind of guys before you then even got to a final, which you then lost anyway. So, it's a bit...
I would say this, though. I think 01
But I rate Wenger, though, because I don't think Klopp could have done what Wenger did, though, which is you can have a shit team and still make top 4 every single year for that amount of time. I don't think Klopp could do that. Last season kind of proved that he can't actually.
But English football was in the mud.
Yeah, can I ask a quick question though? Does anyone know what the stats is in terms of Klopp's head-to-head against these managers? I know, obviously, Fergie was
the best.
already.
It's the best. It's the best.
Yeah,
I think that would be the best way to judge who's the better one, the head-to-heads.
Possible.
I don't know what it is. If someone can find that out, maybe in the chat or whatever, or something we can do after and let everyone know, kind of thing. I'd love to know what that would be. What the head-to-head is like versus like Pep versus Jose and Wenger. That would be mad. Still,
I know Pep's is decent.
I think you can.
And Jose, I'm guessing, as well. His time at Dortmund.
Klopp versus Guardiola, 20. Unless this is wrong, this is from November. 29 meetings. Oh, hey, Jesus Christ!
They played each other.
Guardiola's got, Guardiola got 11. Klopp's got 12.
Oh, bro.
We
know who the better manager there is. Let's go. Who's next?
Klopp versus. Did he play Wenger?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
That stage of Wenger.
I feel like Klopp has beaten him every time.
I feel like this is when Wenger was like, them man were doing up the chance in the bloody.
What their head-to-head is, man. Let's see what.
I think
he might have a better record than all of them. I think so.
Oh, he played a couple of times for Dortmund, didn't it?
Yeah, against Real
That's
Madrid.
okay. Yeah, fair enough. Trying to find it. Man.
You know what's funny too, though? While you guys look that up, it's just funny because this is the question earlier too, though. But I know that I'm not saying that they're going to rise to the levels of the players I'm about to mention, but it's funny because Chelsea could say, "Hey, you know what? Mo Salah, KDB, all the players that they had in their midst, but they allowed to leave." You know, it's interesting that we say these things about these players about, they're dead or this or that, blah, 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 with the club because they just don't have the patience or maybe even the vision to allow for the player to develop. I think that that's where I was getting at. I think that might be where Enz is getting at too a little bit with showing patience. Sometimes I get that sometimes it takes a player getting a new surrounding and everything else maybe to get a new lease on life because of whatever. There's other factors that get into the player being able to become the player that they have, whether it's the system of the coach or just, again, the environment. But it's just very interesting because, I mean, so often we're ready to throw these players away, but yet,
G is 4 wins for Klopp, 3 wins for.
But I mean, if I was a Blue right now, I'd be angry.
Yeah, if I was Chelsea, I would definitely
knowing how Salah has become possibly one of the the greatest right wings of all time in the Premier history.
But Chelsea fans aren't angry; they just say Hazard is better. That's the
Right.
answer.
Yeah,
That's
it's
it.
true. Yeah, there's no
They
like
don't even
context.
acknowledge that.
And they use arguments which they won't want to hear for Steven Gerrard.
Exactly.
I always think like, again these kind of debates. It all depends, man. And big up Savage. It won't prove anything because there's context, and that's where I was gonna get to anyway. Like I feel like all of this is just gonna be contextual, regardless of anything. Anyway, in terms of the head-to-heads, Klopp might be better at all of them. He might be worse against Jose Mourinho, for example. I don't know if someone can find that that head-to-head. That'd be interesting head-to-head if they've even faced each other that much. But yeah, all of this stuff is just it's just contextual. It depends. But if someone could find the Jose versus Klopp
What was the Wenger one?
Ram.
Four wins for Klopp, 3 wins for Wenger, and 3 draws.
So Klopp wins that one as well. So Wenger is out, Pep is out.
Klopp has encountered Mourinho on 9 occasions, having won 3 of those ties, but holds 1 more win over the Portuguese boss overall. 3 wins, 2 losses, and more.
So our manager's up just smoking up these men all day, bro. It's long days.
You know what's so crazy about it? He's smoking up these men, and yet they've all won more than him.
It's
That's
just the
wildest
long
thing
run,
about
innit?
this
It's
whole
the
thing.
long run, bro. The long run, innit?
And this is
Oh,
what I
sorry.
say, context.
Sorry, it was he played against Mourinho 13 times, won 7 times, drew 4 times, and lost twice.
Jeez,
That's a good
smoke
record.
up Mourinho as well.
Because remember,
Yeah.
he was the guy that got Mourinho sacked for Madrid. He got him sacked for Chelsea, and he's got him
I
sacked
remember that
for United.
Lewandowski hat trick against Madrid.
For
Yeah,
Madrid.
yeah.
I knew that.
That was a madness. That was the game I looked at Lewandowski. I was like, oh yeah, you different. Like you ain't even just normal. Like you actually
Hey,
different.
man, you two, but you wanted Klopp out. Respect the gaffer, man.
Who wanted Klopp out? Don't put me
You
in
know
that
your
category.
name.
Yes.
You know your name,
dare.
bro.
Don't you
Why are you
dare.
biting, Ram? Why did you even reply to what Enzi?
Because
said? I don't listen to these.
Because people
these
would think that I actually said those things when
No, stand on. You can
You
stand
know,
on your
you
own.
man
Feet.
are lucky I don't watch the terrorist most of the time, bro. Because if I did, man, I swear I'd cook you, man, in the chat all the time.
Well, I've stood my ground.
I do.
I've stood my ground and said I'm not getting rid of Klopp.
Hey, 12, when they're in there, because I know they feature a lot. When they're in there, just cook them up when they're in there, bro.
It's gonna be mad if Liverpool don't win the league. I swear to God.
They don't.
Most
of the time, they don't.
Gonna be mad.
Why would it be mad?
Most
Because
of
it
the time, my
affects you as
comments
well.
don't get any attention.
No, it doesn't affect me that much, you know. It doesn't affect me at all because I never said we were gonna win the league.
You're
See,
a
I'm gonna head off. Yeah, big up to you, man.
Yeah, bro, love.
Big up,
Everybody gotta go. Big up Jay Kismet. We'll do the last couple of questions and then we'll head out. It's getting late. Who's better, Fergie's United or Pep City?
Pep City. Oh, that's been a
Pep
mad
City.
bro.
Yeah.
With the Rooney, Tevez, Ronaldo, that would be a mad game.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, you know what? That Rooney,
With
Tevez,
what?
Ronaldo, though. Who's the midfield them times? Like Carrick and that.
Carrick, yeah, he balling out. I know. I think
I'll
the
still
football,
go Pep City, though.
yeah, the football that
Pep
we man,
City, yeah, come on. Yeah.
it'd be a problem still.
I won't do that to him, bro. I won't do that to him.
I already gave Al Hansen shout out on my episode a couple of days ago. The day after the quiz, I gave a shout out.
Hakeem's asking you ends. I think this is for when you were speaking about your the coaching the kids.
Formation.
Yeah.
Yeah, nah, try different formations, man. But the one that works best is the one without a striker. Unpredictability, like they don't know who's going to be there. Runners from midfield seems to cause the different problems. I think the opposition's defense, because there's no one to mark, they then push further forward because they feel like there's space there. But then that's how they get caught out.
No,
yeah, different.
This was a good question. Big up, honestly. How good do you think Stevie G would have been under Klopp? Do you guys think he still would have been the main guy? And I'm assuming this is during our prime era. Would have been interesting.
Yeah.
I'd turn him into it.
Yeah, absolutely.
100%.
Maybe he's the type of player that Klopp kind of always wanted.
Yeah.
Now plays for Real Madrid. Question: why don't top players like Rooney, Gerrard, and Javi be successful in management? I think we spoke about that.
Yeah.
When they were successful.
Javi is successful, bro. He's,
I was gonna say, yeah, for real, yeah. Javi is kind of
Yeah.
winning or has won the La Liga at thing.
One La Liga. Yeah.
Yeah, it's only really Rooney is.
I don't even know how
Gerrard
Rooney's
is
even
another one.
giving jobs after jobs, bro.
Good new
It's crazy.
contract though, Gerrard. So
Yeah, true. Yeah, true. In Saudi, but you know,
Gerrard had just won against City. That is, we have a different opinion on him. I'm sure.
you know, so man, it's like that game. That game isn't the thing that bugs me about Gerrard. It's how you just went from. You look like you were heading on this kind of trajectory when you was at Rangers. So we thought, okay, you know, you go to a smaller team, you think, okay, smaller club. Obviously, they're a massive club, but I mean, smaller team in terms of who they are. He was doing really well with Rangers. They were playing really good football. They were actually doing really well in Europe and stuff like that. You then come over to England. Everyone's like, okay, he's stepping up a level. You go to Aston Villa for a little bit. It looked okay in that season that we're talking about. And then, bro, it just looked like the whole world, the weight of everything just kind of came on him. And that's where I was just like, that's where I want to see you at your what you're like now, because you look great when everything's going well for you, but when things are not going so well for you, I've seen these other managers kind of, because they're obviously been managers for time. Like for example, so we've seen what Klopp has done last season. Shit, this season's been able to do all of that. We never really saw that with Aston Villa, and that was where I was like, okay. But I didn't think he would go to Saudi though. Like, I definitely did not see that coming from a mile off at all.
Yeah, I thought he should have gone abroad after Rangers, personally.
Yeah, like Ajax or something. I don't know, like just
yeah,
man. Not every day Saudi, and just doing up nonsense. Last question, actually. Yes. What is your number one holiday destination? Pick up, Brian. Everyone's like,
Nah, Jamaica, bro, all day. Back home.
That's a good shout.
Mine's actually to go to Jamaica.
Good food, good vibe, good music, good people. What do you need, man? Beautiful weather as well, man. Great beaches.
Fuck it, no savage. What is wrong with you? Man said, bro. I can't even say that.
Bro, this man's been cooking up everyone in the chat as well, man.
Yeah, I see it. I see it. Don't worry. I see it.
This is what happens when you're in the chat, bro. It's crazy. Oh man.
12 L's.
That's a really good question.
It's difficult because one place, like just pick one place that you can't just pick one.
You know what? I'd probably say Rio. I'd want to go to Rio de Janeiro.
I've always wanted to go to Brazil as well.
Brazil, yeah.
I'm gonna go to Mexico.
You don't.
Yeah, me to Mexico.
I'm just joking.
I've heard Mexico's alright.
I'm joking.
Yeah.
I heard Mexico's so close to me. That's all. I'm just playing around.
Okay, people.
Mexico's beautiful. Make sure they hear that.
For the record, 12 said Mexico is beautiful. But guys, we have come to the end of the show. I want to big up everybody who's obviously been in the building and passed through. So K-Matt, Tom, Michael, Ends, Els, 12, Ram, unfortunately. Big up everybody who's obviously passed through this evening. Big up every single person in the chat who's been rocking with me this evening. Honesty.
Just got another,
Big up honesty, bro. Much love and appreciation. Question: how good with Prime? Oh, well, you already asked that, bro. But love again for the super chat, bro. Love again for the super chat. I think we also want to go to Grenada one day.
Grenada's a great
show. Some crazy places that they want to go to.
No, Grenada.
Grenada's lovely. Yeah.
Oh, I know, but I heard Syria. I heard.
Yeah, don't listen to what he said about
Romania.
don't listen to Syria. I'm not trying to go there. Guys, have you guys got anything else? 12 and let the people know what you guys have got coming up over the next couple of days.
Yeah. Like I said, tomorrow I have it's gonna be a fun show. Actually, it's hopefully I can get some guys or ladies as well on the panel. to kind of represent. We're going to be representing like a sporting director, and we're going to just like go through and have a fun little swap shop style where we can swap players, and it's going to be an interesting little episode. And that's I'd like to say thank you as well for having me on the panel. The panel was a very illustrious panel of some very good people. I'll say it that way. And chat as always is undefeated. So big up to the chat, and thank you again for having me on.
No, come on, man. Love every time. And else, what you got popping?
Tomorrow.
Are Liverpool playing this week?
We are on Sunday. Yeah.
Sunday. Yeah.
Right. I feel like it's been years since we played.
Yeah, it does feel like
okay,
a long time.
Okay. No, they asked me on the terrace about score, and I was like, score? Okay, 2-1. Like, I don't know, like when we played. But go on.
Now, tomorrow I've got something planned for around 12 noon. I just need to work on the thumbnail, get that scheduled. And then Saturday, preview. Back doing what we love doing, man, is Liverpool content. So that should be an interesting one. And we're ready to rock and roll Sunday for the game. And then after, you guys already know, call-in show, man. Call in, tell us how you feel after the game. And it should be quite fun, man, because it's been good. I can't even lie. It's probably one of the best shows at the moment, man. The call-in show, you get the callers make it great. Obviously, Savage as well.
You just threw Savage in there.
He's one of the guys, man. He's trust me, man. Partnership is different levels, bro.
Else, what you got popping?
Me, probably back on the Gold Diggers on Sunday, fighting for my life. For Nunes.
You don't even need to be. But these times you got what's it? Anita's Chelsea, so I know her and Thames are in the mud right now. Who else is in there? I can't remember her name. The Man United. They're all in the mud. They're all in the mud. They
will find something. This week, I wasn't on this week. It was Steven Gerrard cannot chat to Kevin De Bruyne. I was off 1 week, and this was the title.
Yeah, Monday.
It's okay.
But
guys, make sure we all honestly, if you go on the Gold Diggers, you'll catch her on there. On these.
What's the channel's name? Sorry, guys. It's called Gold Diggers.
Gold Diggers.
GOAL. It's up there on the screen, actually, to be fair. So, but yeah, guys, please make sure you subscribe to all of these channels. So that's obviously Gold Diggers UK. You've got Ensman TV, you already know the vibes, and Liverpool 12. Please make sure you guys are heading on to each and every one of these channels alongside everyone else who's obviously jumped in on the show. Myself, G, and we are finally out.